But I think the development of full artificial intelligence will spell the end of the human race.
It's a flying object, and we don't know what it is. I would hope somebody is checking it out.
With the rockets or whatever, but incredibly fast, opposite direction. They were too fast to be an airplane.
I'm glad the Pentagon is looking at this, because if it poses a threat, I want them on top of it.
Well, the craft generates its own gravitational field.
You said there's lights in the sky?
The internet has become the command center for criminals and terrorists.
911, what's your emergency? I need help, please! Please help me!
Well, they won't let it happen. That's what we're instructed to say.
Roswell, Area 51. Alien kept deep under the ground.
1, 0,
self-serving. You're here for a reason. You're listening to Troubled Minds Radio.
Broadcasting live from a secret bunker just off the extraterrestrial highway. Somewhere in the desert sands outside of Las Vegas. From somewhere in space-time, loosely labeled Generation X on planet Earth. And asking questions of you in earnest. Into the digital darkness.
Good evening and welcome to Troubled Minds Radio. I'm your host, Michael Strange, and hello to all of you who may also have troubled minds. What's going on, guys? It is Thursday night, which is one of the nights we get together and talk about all the things we're not allowed to talk about. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at 7 p.m. Pacific. And what are those things? Well, I'll sum up because there's too much to explain. Aliens, conspiracy, the paranormal, the government, academia, the 24-hour news cycle, propaganda, and the general feeling that we live in the upside down. And of course, well, all kinds more than that. That's just the beginning of what these conversations are like. Because on Troubled Minds, we range far and wide. No multiverse is too large. No metaverse is too small. And that's what we do all over the place. Because, of course, it's a strange world we live in. I talk about the upside down. And not just the upside down itself, but all kinds of other things, including that it just seems like things don't fit anymore. When I was younger, things used to fit. It seemed like things made sense, at least, some semblance of sense. Not that the world was ever perfect, right? And I hate to be the old guy, waving his stick and saying, get off my lawn, that sort of thing. But it just seems like further and further, more and more. I was talking to a friend of mine recently, and he was like, man, and he's not even like he's quite a bit younger than me, and he was like, dude, the world has just gone haywire. He's like, it's not even the world I grew up in. And the dude's like 30 years old or so. I'm just like, face palm. Like, oh, why? Tell me about it. Like, you just described my life. But, I mean, it's true, though. Like, the more you consider, like, what in the world is really going on here, the more it's just like, I don't know how to quantify it anymore. It just doesn't make any damn sense. And that's what this show's about. It's about all of those things. And so suddenly, right, if you talked to me 10 years ago, I would have been like, yeah, the government and, politicians and this, all this other stuff. I don't know, like suddenly you start to maybe open up some ideas to maybe there's like something cosmic at work here. It seems like again, we've talked about simulation theory, we've talked about maybe there's nobody at the wheel anymore, and like universally maybe the focus is shifted and the universe is over humans, and so we're just blazing our own ridiculous trail, because I'm telling you, that's what it seems like to me. But in any case, well, those are the type of ideas that we talk about. Just because, again, I'm not even a religious guy. I just think if you go out and you look up at the stars, you can see that there's something else, something very, very large out there, and what it is, who knows? And I think that's really what this is about. Not just our feet firmly on the ground. See what I did there? Our firm feetly on the ground, I almost said. But also being able to look up and maybe make the connection between the two, between terra firma and the universe at large. And that's what this show's about. All of those things and more. And as you know, I have no secret recipe. I have no inside sources. Nobody tells me anything other than, well, my group of amazing friends, and that would be, of course, the other troubled minds out there. And so, like I say, I have no secret weapons, but the secret weapon of troubled mind is you. That's it. I mean, no inside sources is what I meant to say, but the secret weapon is you. And so we do this live to include you, because these conversations seem to go all over the damn place when we do that, and I love it. I absolutely love it. So with that said, what we're doing is we do this live. We've always done this live. We're going on 4 years now. In April will be 4 years in Troubled Minds, and like I always say, I'm very proud of that fact there, that it's difficult. It's hard to force yourself, right? Sometimes when you have the option to take the out and say, well, I just don't feel like it tonight, or I'm tired, or right, I'm juggling 10 or 12 or 15 other things, or the dog is sick, or I didn't get enough sleep, or right, what have you. There's so many reasons why we make excuses for ourselves, and I think it's a celebration when we get together, and there are no excuses. There are just conversations, and that's what this has really always been about. So with that said, we are streaming. We do this live, and we do it live to include you, is the whole point of that ramble there. And if you want to contact us, we have a phone number, 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037, and we'll put you on the show. You can also click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. That's the official website. And not only is the phone number there, the Discord link. Discord, of course, is a chat client. It's a voice client. You can share links and photographs and share your screen and live stream from your phone or from your computer or your Mac. I mean, it's an incredible program that's really literally bringing people together, and that's why we talk about it, because I use it often. That's probably the best way if you want to get in touch with me, is get me on Discord, and I'm most active there. But it's such amazing times we live in, right? Technologically, we have all these programs that could bring people together, and yet we have this division media that's trying to just tear us apart instead. It's pretty unreal. So that's, again, more just sort of ramblings from Michael Strange here. But I think that hopefully in the end, right, all my ramblings, I hope at some point they click in, maybe in your dream one day they start to make some sort of sense, because, well, it doesn't seem like they make a lot of sense sometimes when it comes out of my mouth. But in any case, that's what we're doing. We're streaming on Rockfin, YouTube, DLive, and Twitter, of course, and we're broadcasting live on the Fringe FM, and that's digital radio. And again, shout out to Joe Roop and Ryan Gable and Jess Rogie and all the fine folks out there that are part of Fringe, and I'm grateful for allowing me to be part of that. It's been a wild ride, and it's been very, very good with not just able to hone the craft and spend the time and all the rest of that, but meeting amazing people and just growing like crazy here. It's been a pleasure. It's been a blessing, and I want to just send out some thanks to those fine folks out there. And the thing is too, if you want to join the come meet those guys, join the Fringe Discord as well. There's a chat room you can join. It's totally free. Fringe.fm/chat will give you a direct invite. And also, please download the Fringe app. It's completely free. It's the best way to listen to Troubled Minds. You just download the app, and it's 7 o'clock Pacific, Monday through Thursday. You just smash the play button, and boom, you get little old me. And the fine group of troubled minds that call in and be part of this. And like I said, I'm blessed here. This is a cup runneth over type situation. So okay. So what we're doing tonight now. All right. So tonight, okay. It got me thinking. All of these things, as you know, I'm a connoisseur of the news cycle, and what that means is I like to watch for BS. I've got to developed a keen spirit for news cycle BS, and I'm always watching for some of that stuff because propaganda is one of those things that drives me insane because it's lies, it's the division, it's all that stuff, right? It's all the stuff that I just can't stand about humanity, and yet it's like just dumping on our heads constantly like a digital grotesque rain, right? And so instead, I'm looking at this, and we talk about the surveillance state, and we talk about mass surveillance and things like this. And don't worry, we're going to get to we're going to get to some wild stuff tonight, but we're going to start with our feet firmly planted on the ground. And we're going to go here. This is from the Electronic Frontier Foundation. And we've talked about this bill in the past, but there's something called the Earn It bill. All right. And they're, of course, framing this in the sense of, protecting the children because, right. But the children, right. That whole bit like, but the children. And, they know, like politicians know if they tug at heartstrings, right, they get things done. But of course, by doing that, they're misrepresenting their intentions. They're trying to use our emotions against us and all the rest of this. So when I saw this bill initially, my BS detector went off. The spider sense tingled, and I thought, what in the world is going on here? And there's a thing on the internet known as end-to-end encryption. All right, and there's a section 230 of the internet. Is it what is it? Hold on, section 230. Anyway, so point being is this, right? Is that there are rules in place now that make the internet what it is. Okay, and that's fine, and it's not perfect. Nothing's ever perfect. The internet's as it began back in what, like the when was that? Like the early 90s? I don't even know. Like it's been, it definitely wasn't when I was a child, but young adult for sure, in early 90s maybe. I don't know. When did the internet become ubiquitous? And in any case, right? So there were no rules. There were just no rules, right? Like the internet was kind of like the Wild West, the wild digital West. But then, things started changing, and the old joke is that porn and UFOs built the internet. But now things have changed quite a bit. That you can't even talk about UFOs in some cases anymore. Well, don't worry about the porn. That's just proliferating like crazy. You can find that anywhere by accident, even. Innocuous search terms without any let's say thirsty intent. Still, sometimes will get you porn on the internet. So it's one of those like, wait, what's going on? Like, yeah, but because of course there are rules. All right, there are actual things, and I don't know. It drives me a little bit crazy that as always, not only are they trying to wrangle speech and control not just the things we say, even personally, but also on the internet itself. It turns this into this entirely other draconian thing. When you try and use, again, tug our heartstrings to save the children, to silence us, you see? And let me explain. So this is again, from EFF.org. This is the Electronic Frontier Foundation. This is what I mean. It's back. This is from February 3rd. Senators want Earn It bill to scan all online messages. That sounds fine, right? There's nothing wrong with that. So here we go. People don't want outsiders reading their private messages, not their physical mail, not their texts, not their DMs, nothing. It's a clear and obvious point. But one place it doesn't seem to have reached is the U.S. Senate. Oh, yeah. A group of lawmakers led by Senator Richard Blumenthal, a Democrat from Connecticut, and Senator Lindsey Graham, a Republican from South Carolina, have reintroduced the Earn It Act, an incredibly unpopular bill from 2020 when it was dropped in the face of overwhelming opposition. Let's be clear, this is straight from the article, all this. The new Earn It Act would pave the way for a massive new surveillance system run by private companies that would roll back some of the most important privacy and security features in technology used by people around the globe. It's a framework for private actors to scan every message sent online and report violations to law enforcement. And it might not stop there. The Earn It Act could ensure that anything hosted online, backups, websites, cloud photos, and more is scanned. Oh no, right? And so what they did back when they introduced this bill back in 2020, and I talked about this then because it was troubling. It was, if you're going to define something that creates a troubled mind, it's when, again, the politicians that be use our emotions against us, right? Use our discernment, trying to throw it in the toilet and give us something that we don't want by calling it something we do want. Does anybody remember the Patriot Act? Did anybody sign up to get their genitals felt up at airports? I didn't, and I still think it's not okay. And right, so in any case, this is what's happening, and this is where they're headed, right? This Earn It bill is what they're calling it. And the whole point, of course, the premise is for, safety and security, as always, right? But in this case, they're saying that if they can scan through the back door every single thing that goes up on the internet, then, well, they'll be able to go get those child predators, right? They'll be able to keep these guys off the internet and et cetera, so on, of course, because, well, protect the children. Oh, but the children. And again, don't get me wrong. I absolutely want to protect the children. I think it should be our highest priority. However, this is not the way you do that. Again, so you don't tear down an entire institution, roll it through a wood chipper, and then hand somebody a bunch of sawdust and say, well, here's your internet. Because that's exactly what this is trying to do. And I'll read a little bit more from here. Check this out. How terrifying does this sound? The bill empowers every U.S. state or territory to create sweeping new internet regulations by stripping away the critical legal protections for websites and apps that currently prevent such a free-for-all, specifically Section 230. The states will be allowed to pass whatever type of law they want to hold private companies liable, as long as they somehow relate their new rules to online child abuse. Exactly. Right? Now, I'll read that one more time, the end part. The states will be allowed to pass whatever type of law they want to hold private companies liable, as long as they somehow relate their new rules to online child abuse. And that's the point here. That, which is, again, like I said, on its face, right? If you frame things appropriately in politics, you can kind of get away with whatever the hell you want, right? As long as people don't ask too many questions, they don't, prod these bills with sticks. Remember, if you have to vote for the bill to see what's in the bill, right? That kind of stupid shenanigans that have been going on in Washington for way, way, way too long. Well, this hopefully is not one of those ones, because we should be screaming to the heavens if this gets anywhere near an actual bill that Joe Biden might sign, because he probably can't even read it because the print's too small, if you know what I mean. And I mean that in the most respectful way. So the thing is, right, here we go. The goal is to get states to pass laws that will punish companies when they deploy end-to-end encryption or offer other encrypted services. This includes messaging services like WhatsApp, Signal, and iMessage, as well as web hosts like Amazon Web Services. We know that the Earn It Act aims to spread the use of tools to scan against law enforcement databases because the bill's sponsors have said so. They told us so, right? Hey, all they got to do is tell us, and we believe, don't we? Right? If what's the old saying go like? If a politician's mouth is moving, that's how you know they're lying. Yeah, of course, they're lying. And this is the horrific part about all this. Again, if you want to see what's in the bill, you got to pass the bill. These types of shenanigans, like I said, but then also when they do this kind of 11th hour type stuff, where they release the bill, and then the voters, the Congress, or whatever you want to call them, there's probably more appropriate and accurate terms, or let's say less appropriate but more accurate terms to call Congress. I can think of some choice words that are not appropriate for the radio. But the thing is that if you do something like this and you roll it out and they're ready to vote on it, what happens is as they're reading it, the Congress, the legislators, the would-be voters of these bills, then they go back in behind closed doors again, and then they slip in some dirty stuff at the bottom of the bill. So when they roll it back out, there's no time to actually vet the changes, and they're like, vote time, go vote, right? And so people think they're voting on the past thing that they gave them, hours ago or days ago. But no, they changed it. They tweaked it. They, 11th hour changes. And this is what I'm saying. This is the world we live in. And this, if that's not upside down, absolutely nothing is. So my point with all of this is this. All right. So if they want to scan and see and watch every single thing that goes through the internet through some sort of back door to hold private companies accountable, right? Then my question is this tonight. This is the question, and this is where we begin. Well, if they're watching us, per usual, who will watch the watchers? All right? And that's the whole point. We're talking about private companies here, sort of legislating against other private companies by passing on tattletale info to the government itself, to wield the punitive arm of the Justice Department and bring down, anything that seems like it might be, child trafficking, right? Child abuse in any forms, right? And again, like I said, I am not trying to protect that. Don't get me wrong at all. That's all horrific, and it all needs to stop immediately. I'm not the boss of the world. I don't rule things. I'm just saying that this here, right, you cannot throw out the baby with the bathwater, meaning that everybody else's privacy for the sake of that, which is not even that. Again, it's a wolf in sheep's clothing, is that here we are. And so my question becomes, if they're watching us, then who will watch the watchers? And it's a philosophical thing. It goes back. It's one of those situations where it's like who will police the police, right? Who is Congress accountable to? Who will hold them accountable? Who will watch what Congress is doing behind closed doors, right? Those types of things. And that's what's on my mind tonight. And it got me thinking in terms of not just the watchers themselves, which of course would be our favorite technocrats, like we always talk about. You know who they are: Zuckerberg, Bezos, these guys, right? And there's more. There's just that's the short list. There's a quite a longer list than that. But so in terms of who will watch the watchers, all right, and if they are the watchers of us, we already know they're doing it with some of these things. Again, with Facebook being basically a spyware company, as it is a product of spyware, right? And some convenient things for you to upload some photos and share your dinner, right? I mean, there you go. That's a nice trade-off, isn't it? But the thing is that if they're watching us constantly, continually, and they're scouring for every single thing to keep all the children safe, right? It's always in the name of all the children, and that's the thing that really gets my goat. Because if they gave a crap about children, what about this Epstein deal? What about the highest levels of government? What about all the hypocrisy regarding what they say versus what they do? Right? I mean, literally, if you spend any amount of time just kind of chasing these things down, you'll find out that, in fact, it may be that nobody is watching the watchers, and that's the problem I have with this. And so that's my question tonight. As we begin, we're gonna start here. Like I said, we're starting with our 2 feet on the ground, and we're talking about the surveillance state. We're talking about the digital eye of Sauron as it watches every single thing we do. And then what? And then what? Where's the oversight on the other end? Who will watch those very same watchers? And it got me thinking in terms of, all right, well, as usual, right, we talk about as above and so below, and how there's these connections between the real world, the micro world, the macro world, and then even the earthbound world and the cosmic world. And of course, because this is Troubled Minds and because my name is Michael Strange, I got thinking in terms of, isn't it an interesting thought that if we have earthbound watchers through that digital eye of Sauron, what about galactic watchers? And who are they watching? And not only that, who would be watching them? And that's what's on my mind tonight, just a casual Thursday on Troubled Minds. People considering all the cosmic shenanigans that may be happening, maybe in league with the terrestrial shenanigans? I have no idea. And of course, as we do this, like I said, I have no inside sources, but I do have a secret weapon. And the secret weapon of troubled minds is you. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on this as we begin. And the question tonight is exactly that. Who will watch the Watchers? And then it becomes a larger question. Not just that. Who exactly are the Watchers? And how big in the macro universe does that notion go? Love to hear your thoughts. If you want to be part of the discussion tonight, 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. This is Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. Don't go anywhere. More Watchers, the digital eye of Sauron, and you when we return. Be right back. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange, and we are streaming on Rockfin, YouTube, DLive, and Twitter, and we are broadcasting live on the Fringe FM. And tonight, as we begin the discussion, the digital surveillance state would have the back door to everything if we allow them. But it got me thinking in terms of not just who will watch the Watchers, but what if the Watchers are not solely a terrestrial phenomenon? And that's where you come in. What are your thoughts here? 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037, and we'll put you on the show as easy as that. Now there's a lot here. Again, like I said, it becomes a situation where we start with a surveillance state. We start in the terrestrial realm, meaning that we're here. It's us. It's Earth. It's people. We don't have to get too wild to begin. But it got me thinking in terms of, okay, so who will be watching the Watchers? And so I know that there's a Marvel group, if anybody actually has is into the Marvel comics, there's an actual group of individuals in the Marvel universe. And what are they called? You better believe it. The Watchers. So that's what's on my mind tonight. We're going to get to that in just a sec. But the thing is that let's take the term Watchers to mean all Watchers, okay? Whether that's going to be dimensionally, whether that's going to be some sort of a digital surveillance state, whether there's some sort of maybe universal ancient group of somethings that's watching us for a particular purpose. Maybe it's interest. Maybe it's self-preservation. Maybe it's because we're just a morbid group of individuals and they like to see what shenanigans happen next. Who knows? But that's what's on my mind tonight. And as we go, of course, we can add the surveillance state and this Earn It Act. I think it's important to, again, keep our 2 feet on the ground and talk about things that are happening around us. If you hear about the Earn It Act and somebody's trying to sell it as let's protect the children, just go read what the bill is. I just encourage you. Again, the newest iteration of this seems like another nightmare. I did read the original bill back in 2020, and it was just basically to kill encryption. And we played a clip of Lindsey Graham, right? Notice the two senators in that Earn It bill are it's bipartisan. There's one Democrat, there's one Republican. And like I always say, the only thing they ever agree on is just removing more privacy rights. That's all they ever care about, right? And so bipartisan or spending more money, right? The two things. And that's what they agree on. They're like, yep, definitely, safety is paramount, so we need to remove more rights from people, right? But then secondary, we have, just from that instance, we have that other situation, like maybe the Celestial Watchers. What is that? And we'll get to the Marvel Comics. What's up, Tim in the chat says, biblically, the Watchers procreated with humans in the Book of Enoch. And I'm glad you brought that up, my friend, because guess what's also on the docket tonight? Exactly that. Exactly what you just described. And so anyway, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Have you heard of this Earn It bill? And do you think it's an important thing for us to, wink, wink, protect the children? Because that's how they have to sell it. Just like the Patriot Act was the, jungle your bits situation when you went to the airport, right? Jingle bells, jingle bits, jingle your bits, right? Jingle all the way. And that's what the Patriot Act became. And you're like, wait, what? Yeah. Go to the airport. Get back to me. In any case, right? So again, this has been a conversation that's been going on for a very long time. It's safety versus security versus freedom and human rights and things like this. And but I don't know. Let's get to this other stuff, because I think it is fun to talk about some of the stuff that's happening, the dirty shenanigans they pull in Congress. But then also, there you go, the book of Enoch deleted by the Roman, right? Yeah. What's going on, guys? I see a Vicky over there. I see you guys over on the Fringe chat as well. What's happening, guys? We got real quick Midgard Studios, and we got what's happening, guys? What's happening? Freakin' Nate is there. Hope everybody's doing well. All right, so thing is this, right? This is where we begin. The Earn It bill, they're trying to put it through to stop child exploitation, and then they're all going to, just scan all of our messages to make sure that we're all on the up and up, right? And again, that's one of those, let's file that under how could that go wrong? And clearly, right, you don't, again, apt to maybe say, like I just said, baby in the bathwater situation, you don't throw it out. You don't. You can remove the two things, and you can discern what needs to happen and do the best for the particular moment. And more surveillance, for crying the F out loud, is not what we need. Are you kidding me? Remember, think about it. The Patriot Act, right? Terrorism, more surveillance, right? This elephant in the room known as the wink wink pandemic, that actually, what did it do? More surveillance. It's like no matter what the calamity is, the answer is always the same: more surveillance. Now we have this, of course, and again, I'm not going to defend the Pizzagate stuff, because it's some of it's pretty wild, and you get people going and bringing guns to pizza parlors. Okay, that's turns on its head fast. All right, well, but then we have this Epstein stuff that they're defending, that because they have big players in that game, right? And so, of course, like I said, you don't ever, even though Epstein's dead, you don't ever go and fire up an article on the internet, the interwebs, about Jeffrey Epstein, and it says he's a convicted pedophile. It says financier Jeffrey Epstein. It's like really? Like, okay, so we have to say allegedly, and then once they're convicted, we still give them like a nice title? No, that's not the way it works for me or you or anybody else. That's how it works for people that are in the big club and we ain't in it, right? It's a big club and we ain't in it. And so anyway, point being is that like you can't have more surveillance be the answer to everything, for crying out loud. And this is what irritates me and gets me to the point where I'm asking the question, who will watch the watchers? And so let's get to this Marvel thing real quick, because I think this is interesting and pretty notable to this conversation tonight. And I got thinking in terms of this, and this is from marvel.fandom.com, and there's this group of individuals known as the Watchers. And this is a quote from the High Father in the Marvel Universe. "Still, already the burgeoning universe had brought forth life, and among the first, a race who quickly learned their vast powers were best served by observation more than action." And so, yeah, you scroll down a little bit, look how wild this is, the history of this. Again, so topic tonight is who will watch the Watchers, all right? And again, we're starting with our feet planted on the ground firmly, but we're going to quickly get to the celestial realm, all right? And so this is, again, links in the description if you guys want to follow along with my links. As always, listen to this. The Watchers were known to be the oldest species in the universe, and committed to observing and compiling knowledge on all aspects of the universe without any interference. The original name for this race has since been forgotten. They adopted the name after the task they perform. This policy of non-interference was due to a well-meaning attempt by the Watchers to bestow knowledge on another race, which resulted in that race destroying itself. Despite this, the Watcher Uatu revealed himself to the superhero team, the Fantastic Four, and aided them on several occasions against global threats such as Molecule Man, Galactus, and the Overmind. After blatant interference with the mission of the Kree soldier Mar-Vell, Uatu was put on trial by his own race, but was released on the provision that he would never directly interfere again. And now, this got me thinking, right? Again, you know me. I start, I catch a thread and I start thinking and I chase it down. And, well, what is this? Who are these Watchers? And do you think this is possible? Meaning that we've talked about Cthulhu. We've talked about the great old ones of Lovecraft mythology. We've talked about a lot of this stuff in the sense of just the cosmic, the primordial cosmic ooze, whatever that was. What are the very, very earliest things in the Big Bang, right? Entities or gods in some cases, as you would expect, right? And this here got me thinking in terms of, well, what if the Watchers are some sort of celestial galactic chroniclers of not just history here, but history everywhere? And, well, I don't know. It seems pretty wild that, it seems like Marvel's kind of tapped into something, doesn't it? But yeah, so this is the race of the Watchers. If you guys don't know what this is, but in terms of, like I said, we can take this discussion wherever you like. As you know, open-ended, non-linear. We'll go wherever you want to go with this. If you want to talk about Congress, you want to talk about this Earn It bill, you want to talk about, how about a celestial race of Watchers? Well, let's do it. And I don't know. I think that's the thing, right? Is that in back to the philosophical question, is if the Watchers are constantly, continually, always and forever watching, who will watch the Watchers? Are they endowed with their own ability to govern themselves, to I don't know, keep morality in play? I don't know. There you go. Matt's got a good question too, and I was thinking this myself. Would the Watchers and the Akashic records be connected somehow? And that's another question for tonight. Because, of course, it seems like if there is that same sort of maybe universal knowledge bank that you would expect, like any good, computer program, if you know what I'm saying, it has a database. And there's an administrator of that database. And I wonder, what do you think? What do you think about this Marvel, the Watchers, and all the rest of this? Looking to hear your thoughts. Who will watch the Watchers? And again, we start on the basis of, both feet on terra firma, but very quickly we go celestial, because after all, this is Troubled Minds. Love to hear your thoughts. 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. Who will watch the Watchers? And that's what's going on. Hope everybody's doing well out there tonight. I see you guys in the chat. And let's see. I can go whenever. I got you. There's a bit more. Okay, cool. Let's do it. Looks like James popped in here. Let's go to James. Let's go to James Salcedo of Salcedo Paranormal. What's up, my friend? Welcome to Troubled Minds. How are you tonight?
I'm good, thank you.
Right on. What do you think? I thought when I started doing this, I was like, wait a minute, this is, weren't there Watchers in the Marvel universe? Like from an old memory, right? One of those old kind of dangling memories you have from your childhood. You're like, I swear there was and I look it up and I'm like, damn right there is. Tell us about these Watchers, James.
Well, you covered most of the general history there, from that website there. The other thing I wanted to bring up is in this one major series of comics that started out with Earth X, it was basically explained that not only could the Watcher on the moon, Uatu, not only could he look down on the planet and see what was going on at any given time, it was literally an issue of, or a case where he could go and look at any time period in the history of Earth. And not only that, the histories of multiple versions of Earth.
Right, because if you go down, again, I'll link this in the chat if you guys want to read along with this, but so it says that exactly there are multiverse versions of these guys, right? So they have different timelines, so it's like they're sort of curating all of everything forever from the beginning to the end in every iteration possible, right?
Yes, yeah, and so that's a big part of that whole story. That just makes you wonder if something like that could, exist out there on a moon or on a planet that could do that without even, if it's got enough power, then I would guess it could. Watch and look at all the different universes and see how things are going, and then you never know. I mean, just like in the comics, how do we know that all these watchers just watch? If one is doing that in fiction, how do we know that doesn't happen? If interfering in fiction, I mean, how do we know that doesn't happen in other cases with anything like similar to this in reality?
Exactly. And so in the sense of that, like in terms of like people and Earth and all the rest of that, there's laws, right? And laws are supposed to be agreed upon by the population, right? And all the rest of that stuff. But clearly that's not the case because we live in the upside down that we always talk about. But in the same sense, what if the Watchers have some set of cosmic laws, and who actually holds them to it? Are they able to meddle whenever they want? Are they able to change timelines? Are they able to, with the wiggle of a pinky, just completely turn everything upside down? And maybe even, remember how I always say that it feels like the world we live in anymore, whoever used to be driving it is no longer driving, right? Well, what if it's these guys? And what if they're losing interest, or something else somewhere else is more what would you say, interesting to them? And they, I don't know. What's your thought there?
Yeah, and this is just my kind of belief that I've come up with over time, is that I can totally get behind an idea of a creative force that made everything, and maybe even a sentient being that did make everything. I just, with the way everything has gone over our history, before and now, I have a hard time believing that it's really always paying attention, and that's just my view. I know I'm not trying to tell anyone else what to think. That's just how it seems to me.
Yeah, I dig it, and I think in terms of this too, with these watchers, it does seem like Matt described in the chat there a little ways back, that wouldn't this be sort of like the curators, like the librarians of that cosmic Akashic record, right? It seems like they would be the ones, maybe the chroniclers, if these exist out there, if there's something like this happening. Have you seen, go ahead and comment on that, and I got another question after that.
Oh, well, yeah, and I mean, maybe they even decide which realities they're going to intervene in or not based on what's happening. And maybe to them, again, getting back to that idea that they're not interested, maybe we're just in one of those that they've just lost interest.
Yeah, exactly. Imagine it's a big multiverse, right? And there's probably a lot of popping things happening out there. Like, who knows what kind of intergalactic wars are actually going down? You've seen Stargate, right? Or at least familiar with the premise. I mean, that's a big ass war right there. But okay, so the thing is then, in terms of, if they're watching us, and there's some sort of a chronicler of this Akashic record per se, then what if it's them? What if they are out there and this idea from the Marvel comics isn't so outlandish? And the question I was going to ask you is, have you seen Interstellar?
No, I have not. That came out after I kind of stopped watching movies.
Gotcha. Okay. Just quick spoiler. There's basically the Akashic record in there. And it's housed in a particular thing that I'm not going to spoil for people who haven't seen it. But if you haven't seen, I highly recommend it. Again, I'm not the guy that watches movies, so I'm not going to give you a list of 22,000 movies to watch and say, watch all this. But I'm going to say, if you haven't seen Interstellar, check that movie out. It is pretty absolutely wild. And it does include a sample of what you might consider the Akashic record. Pretty crazy. Matt says, Galactic Librarians, how do I apply for a job? Right?
Yeah, I agree with Matt there, actually, yeah.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun. So there you go. Tim's got it right. Says the Watchers speak through quantum echoes. Call back to last night's show. Regarding this, then, is again, am I too far off the rails here, James? Help me, brother. Help me get back and make this ship right.
What? I don't understand. What are these rails you speak of?
Oh, never mind. We don't use those anymore. I guess that's an antiquated pre-internet thing. We don't do that anymore. Gotcha. All right. So we're on the same page. Where we're going, we don't need rails. But okay, yeah. So, but then again, right? So I think the question is, and we talk about stuff like this often on this show, when you're talking in large terms, galactic, cosmic scale type terms, well, what's bigger than that? And so who would watch the Watchers? Any idea on how that would play out?
I would say the only thing that could be bigger than something like that would be, again, going back to that creative force or that creator entity, whatever that is. But then again, if you go with that, did they create the multiverse? Did they create every universe or just the one? The further up you go, the more questions there are.
And it seems to get sloppy, doesn't it? I mean, at some point, right? Like, you're going to get some folks out there that are rolling their eyes and like, come on, these guys are just making stuff up. And yes, but also, well, again, we've talked about energy and how it never destroys. It just changes form and things like this. So that means information in the universe doesn't ever actually recede in the sense that it disappears. It just becomes something else. And so all of those things we're talking about, scientifically, it holds that the information in the universe is always contained within the universe, all of it. So I don't know what would be larger than the Watchers. That's a good question. So what are your other thoughts here regarding, how about that internet bill? Have you heard of this Earn-It Act? I know I talked about it maybe back in the end of 2020, I think. But what do you think about all the answers on Earth seem to be surveillance? we just need more surveillance. That'll fix everything, right?
Of course, yeah. Just let everyone, let them watch every single thing we do online and in person. That'll be fine.
That's fine.
No, yeah,
that's fine.
No, I don't. But it does seem like I do agree with your assessment there that no matter what happens, the answer is always more surveillance, and it's just, yeah. No, I don't like it.
Yeah, it is unfortunate that we find ourselves in that world where it's less and less trust on the individual and more trust in the power establishment, which of course would be the government, the corporations. It's a big club, James, and we ain't in it. I had a brain explosion. I was about to call you Matt, but I said the right name. Thank goodness. Thanks, Matt. No,
I'm not as smart as he is.
there you. We can have that thumb wrestling match another time. But okay. So I don't know. In terms of this, what about the Watchers from Marvel? We got another minute or two. Anything to add to this before we cut you out of here?
Well, the interesting thing about that is that's not just necessarily powers; it's technology that they use. So, again, that's going back to the topic, the more down to earth topic, and they're the only ones that have access to it because they're in the place where it's at, and it's in the comics, it's on some moon outside of a planet and in an area that no one hardly ever goes to. Although you have to wonder does it have some kind of a way to mask itself, to hide itself if it does that? Because you would think eventually in time species are going to make it to their hiding spots. And so you would think at some point they'd be discovered, unless they really do have all the power and all the technology.
Yeah, no, I agree, and so that becomes the question, right? That leads us all the way back to where we started. So if they have the ability to not be watched, then once again, who watches the Watchers? I think we end up chasing our tail, right? That Ouroboros, the dragon eating his tail, and here we are, kind of copying some similar fashion, but. I don't know. I think it's an interesting concept to think about in terms of maybe the Akashic record tied in with this and who is actually curating all that stuff. James, you are the best, my friend. Always great stuff from you. James here, a good friend of mine, has a podcast called Salcedo Paranormal. He does paranormal talk 5 nights a week. Give him some love. Go sub up to his show. Links in the description. Always a pleasure, James. You're the best.
Thank you. Have a good night.
You too, my man. All right. We're doing it. We're talking about this. Who are the Watchers exactly? And of course, then once you go in terms of a universal scale, at what point, who is watching those very same watchers. And of course, if you know me, I'm not here trying to tell anybody what to believe. We drink a healthy dose of the maybe juice and consider all the things. And this is a lot of maybe. And that's all right, because that's why you're here. If you weren't, you'd be listening to Sean Hannity and Don Lemon, because I think they're on right now. But in any case, looking to hear from you. What are your thoughts on this? How big does this get? Is there a universal scale, maybe primordial race of ancients, the ancient ones, that are watching everything, cataloging everything, putting it in something like the Akashic record? And of course, the philosophical question becomes, if they are watching, who will watch the watchers? Love to hear your thoughts. One more time, 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. This is Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. Don't go anywhere. More Galactic Watchers. Who will watch those watchers? And you, when we return. Be right back. We are talking about the alien abduction phenomenon.
The aliens are looking through your eyes and they're accessing your optic nerve. I'm doing fantastic. And through that optic nerve, they're transferring to your brain. People are random images as they traverse neurons in the brain.
So we got, all right, so maybe,
and they also feel them planting or receiving memories or ideas or images.
Broadcasting live from a secret bunker just off the extraterrestrial highway. Somewhere in the desert sands outside of Las Vegas. From somewhere in space-time, loosely labeled Generation X on planet Earth. And asking questions of you in earnest into the digital darkness.
Good evening and welcome to Troubled Minds Radio. I'm your host, Michael Strange, and hello to all of you who may also have troubled minds. What's going on, guys? It is Thursday night, which is one of the nights we get together and talk about all the things we're not allowed to talk about. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at 7 p.m. Pacific. And what are those things, you may ask? I'll have to sum up because there's way too much. Those things are these: aliens, conspiracy, the paranormal, the government, academia, the 24-hour news cycle, propaganda, and the general feeling that we live in the upside down. As you know, we are always doing this live. We're streaming on Rockfin, YouTube, D-Live, and Twitter, and we're broadcasting live on the Fringe FM. And we're taking your phone calls, as always, if you want to be part of the discussion tonight. We're talking about who will watch the watchers. And, of course, that begins with the surveillance state, the digital eye of Sauron, as it were. But then, of course, this is Troubled Minds after all, so we're taking it up a notch. We're taking that to the celestial level. Is there such a thing as a celestial watcher? Maybe some curator of the Akashic record, something in terms of that. And if so, back to the original philosophical question. Who exactly is watching the watchers? Lots of ways to take this, as you know, non-linear, open-ended in all ways, and love to hear your thoughts. Just be respectful and engage your mind and have the conversation. That's it. Simple as that. 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubleminds.org. And we're also broadcasting live on the Fringe FM. Please download the Fringe app. Apple iTunes Store, or also the Android App Store, completely free. Just smash play at 7 p.m. Monday through Thursday. You'll get Troubled Minds. Easiest way to listen to the show. All right, let's go. Let's go to phone calls. We have Joseph in Iowa. What's up? I see you there. Actually, it looks like I take that back. Hang tight, Joseph. Looks like Fred edged you out by a smidge. Not Fred. Joe in Florida. Let's go to Joe in Florida. Welcome to Troubled Minds, my friend. How are you? Welcome to the show.
How you guys doing tonight?
Well, no complaints out of me, man. No complaints.
All right. Well, I've got a couple of things. What you're talking about as far as storage and surveillance, first thing I keep thinking about is where are they going to store it all? And when you talk about watchers and people, I remember I have an article. I've posted 2 articles actually in the chat in the Discord. So basically, both were from Scientific American. One was in 2019, curiously enough, and the other one was in 2021. I did not know that you could store data on DNA. Did anybody know that?
Oh, yes. It's supposedly one of the most efficient ways to store data known to mankind, right?
Exactly. So an example was, they gave some ridiculous example of all of this data being able to be stored in something the size of a tennis ball. 33 zettabytes of data by 2025. That's 3.3 followed by 22 zeros. DNA storage can squeeze all that information into a ping pong ball with room to spare. So, and then the DNA, apparently, I did not know this, is very stable and can be kept in a solution with salt, encapsulated with a salt, and it remains stable for decades at room temperature. So, not like I had notes prepared for the show, but if there is some higher force, theoretically, that could be watching us, maybe it's just their DNA waiting to be reconstituted. I didn't read all of these articles, but nowhere in the article did it say whose DNA, random DNA. But on another note, maybe it explains concentric circles and things that are out in the ether. Maybe we've learned these things in DNA and we spread them down. We know DNA could spread disease, or you could have a predisposition for this or that. So seeing that in storage and then hearing about these ancient, watchers, it's a fun drink of the baby juice. Who knows if they're stored somewhere? Just like you could say the Ark. Some people say the Ark was DNA, and maybe it was Cody. And when you take yesterday's show, if everything was a matrix, maybe the matrix is kept in a DNA matrix. I don't know.
Right. So it's some sort of a celestial database, right? And instead, like we do databases in ones and zeros, but you would expect if the most efficient way we know to store data is in DNA, that the celestial database would be written in DNA code, wouldn't it?
DNA code, maybe stored somewhere. It reminds me of those shows that you talked about, Hollywood and the Holywood. I remember we did that show last year, and programming and TV, and all those things get passed down. I mean, the verbal written record gets passed down. The next step from a verbal written record would be a digital record or a DNA living record. So, which kind of brings us back to full circle. If we're a living computer, kind of like a Sauron made human, that's where I kind of go to with this. The only thing is I don't know if I believe some ancients are dead. Maybe the knowledge is passed down. Maybe we lost that knowledge because maybe our gods are dead if they were flesh and blood. Like if you see Stargate when they bury the gate and they try to kill their gods. But it's a curious thing. How we store all of this, we lose our privacy. It opens up all kinds of things. It's a neat concept, but it's a scary concept. So, I mean, I brought this up on the show before. All my phone calls get recorded. And there's a guy that, his name is Greg, I'm not going to say the last name, and he's a sales guy, not even a funeral director. And every once in a while, he picks on everybody when these phone calls come in, and they're shopper calls. And people are in different sets of emotions. But I get graded on if I made an emotional connection with the guy.
Right.
And sometimes I get told, sometimes he tells me I failed to make an emotional connection, but yet I still got the business in the door and help the family out. So who's watching him? Well, he's making all over everybody.
Wait. So I like it's a perfect example because again, it goes as high as you want to take this, right? And this is why, of course, it's Troubled Minds. We're going to go celestial because why the hell not? Who else does? But so the point is that he is not making an emotional connection with you, right? But who's watching him? Oh, come on, man! Come on, man!
Pretty much, pretty much. The guy was an eyeglass salesman. Not that anything's wrong with an eyeglass salesman, but for a funeral business, I mean, that's a totally different subject, kind of. But as a funeral director, when people come to me, they've already experienced a death, a loss, and everything else. These sales guys, they do it while you're still alive, and they try to sell you everything in the kitchen sink. So for him to judge me based on a different set of data or parameters, okay, is wholly unfair. And we could say that happens in a lot of businesses, and those calls get recorded. And literally, my company has enough money and time to waste to listen to every phone call that comes in, okay? It scares me. The ability of what governments have the ability to do already. If my little pissant privately held company can do that and spend money on it and critique my phone calls and waste time and money doing that, it's a very scary thought. There's encryption. We've gotten this far up till now. Why do they want to do what they're doing? How much more control can you insert over the masses? How much more? Kids, that's a poor excuse. We all know that. It's just disgusting. Part of me says you just want to open up another industry so they can bank it on Wall Street. I always try to give them the out. I always try to say it's evil, but it's not that evil because they're trying to make money, like they're trying to privatize everything. But really, it's pretty evil. I mean, we know how they track cell phones. Like if I go to a strip club, you know what I mean? My wife doesn't really give me a hard time, but let's say I go to a strip club. The phone's going to know. They're going to know. They're going to know where I've been.
Hell yeah.
And they can pass that information along.
Hell yeah.
So that's why, before I die, I hope somebody, exactly the joke goes, before I die, delete my browser history, delete everything.
Yeah, right.
But it'll always be stuck there somewhere. And that's it's gross. And who knows? Who knows if the Watchers, maybe there is. Maybe there's DNA from ancients somewhere. Those two articles that I posted are pretty interesting. I had to try to read both of them. I was skipping them real quick. But storing DNA, storing data on DNA, if that becomes mainstream, I mean, your life is going to be Black Mirror recorded from start to finish.
Yeah, no, exactly. And again, Dre has it right in the chat too. It says that studies into DNA also discover. Hold on. Also, epigenetics says we carry on memories from our forefathers. So the DNA thing is on point, but we're also mostly water beings. So pointing toward maybe like the ocean type of thing. So I think you're exactly right here, Joe. That again, as always, right, we're trying to stretch the imagination as well as talk about what's happening in the world around us. And I think it's possible to do both at the same time. And I think we succeeded tonight so far. I appreciate the phone call. What else you got for us, my man?
I don't know. Maybe I'll call you after midnight. I work today. I'm off tomorrow. I'll read those articles if something interesting comes up. I'll give you guys a call. That's really it, man. The weather's warm over here. I hope everybody's warm. I mean, I'm too warm because my air conditioner's not working right. It's 2 years old, so they got to come fix it tomorrow. But whenever you live in Florida, it could be 40 degrees or 90 degrees. It's always humid, and it always sucks. So you always need deodorants. On that note, have a good night, guys.
Have a great one, Joe. Appreciate it. Joe in Florida. Every time I read something about Florida, just real quick before you go, I have I think about you, like with like those iguanas falling from the trees. Like, I'm like, oh, I got to ask Joe about that.
I got coyotes. I got coyotes in the city. I'm living in the city, and I was rollerblading tonight, and there's a woman walking her dog, and she's like, be careful, there's coyotes out here. I'm like, are you kidding me? So yeah, Florida man, Florida woman, bales of cocaine on the beach, red tide, all kinds of stuff. You name it, it happens here. You know what I'm saying? Some guy murdering his wife and hiding underneath the casket's a funeral director. That happened a while ago. Murdered his wife goes missing, does a burial. They pull the casket out of the ground. He tucked the body underneath the real body that he was burying.
So
crazy stuff.
Just to verify, Florida man is a real thing. You're the best, Joe.
It totally is. And Florida woman.
Florida woman. Have a great night, bro.
Come to Florida on vacation. And leave on probation. I'll talk to you guys later.
Have a great one, Joe in Florida. Good stuff. Have a good night. Long time friend of the show. That's the thing, right? We get together and we talk about all kinds of craziness because why not? Again, we're talking about tonight who will watch the Watchers, not just in the let's say terrestrial realm, but how about in the celestial realm? And of course, if you want to talk about this Earn It bill, where they're discussing, well, if we just have a digital backdoor to everything, we can keep everybody safe. I call shenanigans on that. And of course, then they're trying to tug our heartstrings and say, well, it's to protect the children. All right, look it up. It's called the Earn It bill. It's a bipartisan bill between one jerk and another jerk. And, one on this side of the aisle and one on that side of the aisle, but they're both jerks. And there you go. Go look it up. The Earn It bill, they're going to try and push it through. And so, again, this is how the whole dirtiness works. They tell us it's to keep children safe, all right? But what they're trying to do is ruin end-to-end encryption so that we can't do anything anonymously on the internet, right? And I was just to add to the joke there that Joe was saying, go to the strip club, the phone's tracking me, this type of thing, right? I got one better for you. I'll go to the liquor store, and I won't take my phone, and I'll bring cash. Track that. And I'm wearing a mask up to my eyeballs. Yeah, sure that was me, right? Sure that was me. Anyway, just for the lulz. Still taking your calls. The question tonight is, who will watch the Watchers? And that means in all levels, of course, here on Earth with the digital eye of Sauron in the surveillance state, or of course, since it's troubled minds, let's take it to the celestial level. And is there some sort of a curation process with an entity or a something out there that actually does watch and curate the Akashic record, and who watches those individuals? 702-957-1037. Thanks for being patient, Joseph in Iowa. You're on Troubled Minds. Go right ahead, sir.
Hey, I was gonna say something about like an experience, but then I was thinking about World War II, how nothing, it was something internally, how there's something inside that can stop evil, but then you think about World War II, nothing stopped that. I'm sure the system can be more powerful than we can basically make a system more powerful than ourselves. And I think that's maybe the Watchers could be scouts in this scenario, in this reality, or they've gone Watcher to scout, and that's why they always talk about a war. Maybe there's I don't know. That's just something that I was thinking.
Yeah, well,
then I was thinking about the spy satellites and stuff that they're sending up, or satellites. They're launching rockets into space every day. And I think that's just to get high definition video of everything, on the ground. Imagine if we're having cameras looking into atmospheres of other planets. Imagine what a camera would do to a house in the Nebraska or something. You would be able to and if you had everywhere, you would be able to make a model of everything and everyone. And it would literally be like playing Sims. You would be able to zoom into each house and be like, oh, this guy's just pacing. You'd be able to see everything. And I think, is that what you're kind of talking about with the Watchers?
Yeah, I think you're onto something too. Something I hadn't introduced yet is, so what if there's like sort of that digital entity we were talking about maybe last night and some other nights here, maybe that singularity of such that's collecting so much data on us, and when that, whatever, let's say back to the singularity, we get a program that becomes sentient, and it's got all the data on all of us already, so it knows exactly who it's dealing with all the time. If we're trying to negotiate or things like this, right? The idea was when we were talking about this, I can't remember if it was last night or the night before because it all blends together in my brain, but it was that if it asks a software program wakes up and asks for a body, you better believe, like a physical body, you better believe it knows exactly who it's dealing with, because it's tapped into every like big data database in the entire world. We're talking Facebook, we're talking probably the NSA, we're talking, right, it's probably done its homework. And so you're talking in terms of so maybe not like a celestial watcher, but maybe like a digital watcher that's not part of humanity, right?
They make simulations.
Right, exactly.
Out of like for the youth, and they'll train what we already have in us, like the scout of our reality, like the observer will train into these behaviors, and then you'll be able to, test it in the real world. And you'll have, you could produce like an army of hypersensitive watchers that just like, and that's human watchers. I mean, if there was like an AI, I don't know. And I think like it's better with human because, and the full picture within spaces, because like now if you just do it through phones, that's not enough, because the real sick people they don't have a phone. They're probably not even connected to the internet. They're probably in a cave somewhere.
Yeah, right. Like that, like the real sickos.
Yeah. And they have metal detectors and stuff that can see deep, like into the earth. Like you can buy these, and I'm assuming they have technology from space that you can see into the ground and stuff like that. But then they would be blocking it. They would have a green screen or whatever. And I don't know. I think that's why you'd have to have the watchers built into humans, because then, like, it would be like a spy. You would be making a spy.
Yeah, right.
That's why I'd call him more of a scout.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. It's more of a philosophical term, like who will watch the watchers. It's for actually, we can get to that. We can get to why I use that term. But yeah, but you're right. There are many terms here we can use, including like a database, like a digital database, like Joe said, DNA. Like you said, more like a scout, like a high res sort of scout that's in the metaverse and in that sort of situation. So there's a lot of ways to look at it, and that's why we do this, to kind of get a lot of different ideas. Just take it in all directions.
I was thinking the metaverse to for example, I had a situation where I dealt with evil directly. Like I didn't directly dealt with evil like in my life, but like I ran into it and I noticed the behavior was wrong, but I didn't connect the dots in the situation. I just kind of like shook my head, a little bit, like a quick little jerk. But like I showed this kid how to do a flip on the trampoline, because he wasn't acting like a normal kid. And it's kind of a mess up story to talk about, but basically this kid admitted to some mess up stuff like a couple weeks later, after we were all over there and I showed him how to do flips and stuff. And I think that's the thing they're harnessing,
I see. So like you detected it, you knew there was something not right about him, because, well, maybe it's in the ether. Maybe the watchers are us. I like it. Man. Yeah, I have no idea. No answers here for me. You know me. I'm just trying to get all the ideas out there and put them on the table, and then shrug our shoulders and walk away afterward. That's all I could do, man. But I love the ideas, Joseph. I like how you're tuned in with the metaverse, and you're kind of making us all realize that this next iteration of whatever humanity is going to become may be a scary place. We're out of time, my friend. I appreciate the phone call. Joseph here has a YouTube channel called Hydro Hose. Links in the description. Check it out. He does original music and some other stuff, and he's very enthusiastic and a very good dude and has great ideas. You're the best, Joseph. I appreciate you very much. Have a great night, okay?
Yep.
Thanks a lot. There you go. Simple as that. If you want to be part of the show, 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. The question tonight is this, right? As you know, nonlinear, open-ended, and what we're talking about is who will watch the watchers. And in one case, we have the digital domain of watchers. Of course, we talk about the surveillance state all the time. But in the other case, we have more than that. What about a group of celestial watchers? One more time, 702-957-1037. I see you, Daryl. We're going to go to you as soon as we come back. We got Robert as well. This is Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. More watchers and who will watch those watchers and your calls when we return. Don't go anywhere. Be right back. More Troubled Minds on the way. Yeah, one sec, Daryl. Hold on. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange, and we are streaming on Rockfin, YouTube, DLive, and Twitter, and we are broadcasting live on the Fringe FM. Tonight, we're talking about, that's right, the Watchers. The terrestrial watchers, the celestial watchers, all the watchers. Which watchers do you want to talk about? And most importantly, who will watch the watchers? And that's the question tonight. The surveillance state, the Eye of Sauron digital style, or of course the celestial watchers in many terms being what? Archons being something else, the Book of Enoch, all kinds of crazy places we can take this, but this is always up to you. Open-ended, non-linear, love to hear your thoughts. 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. Let's go to our good friend Daryl in New York. Could you please turn the stream down just a smidge? You're kind of clipping through. I would appreciate that very much.
Okay. I love this topic, Michael. This is so interesting. It's something like all the news I've been reading lately kind of leads up to what you're talking about tonight, about collecting data and, protecting our privacy, yet they want to do, make us safe on the internet, but they want to, also monitor us on the internet, monitor everything we do. So how much privacy are we going to have in the future? Is everything we do going to be on some record? And I was thinking about what you were talking tonight about these Akashic records, and these are the the librarians or the gatekeepers of those records. That's a great. I think that's the right job for the right purpose. It would make sense. Like who would be in charge of those Akashic records? But these watchers, right? Then I was thinking, how do you get the job as a watcher? Do you can we get a job? Do you reincarnate and you just decide, I want to be a watcher? And then you think, well, they do this for a lot of time. I heard somebody said they even met one, and they looked like a big, praying mantis or something. They looked like an insect, but a giant one. And they looked really tired, and they were very old, but they were very wise. So I'm thinking, maybe they lived for thousands and thousands of years. But, do you have to apply for this job? Do you go to training? Every kind of business modality, like the funeral director, do they have to go through training? Do they get trained on sexual harassment? Do they have a lot of regulations? Whistleblowers, do they retire? When they live forever, how do they decide when they want to, stay on if they don't get along with their boss? And also, do you work in one solar system? Do you work in the galaxy? Do you work in the region larger? Do you work in this universe? Do you work in multi-universe? I guess there's a hierarchy, right? And then who's monitoring their calls,
Right, exactly.
Use them again.
And that's the thing, right? In some way, there's always a boss somewhere, right? And so it is interesting, I don't know, the Adjustment Bureau, that movie with Matt Damon, where it's the time police. They had bosses and a hierarchy of bureaucrats that went up and up and up and up into the heavens. So yeah, I wonder, right? Clearly you're making jest of this, but the point would be is that if there is some sort of digital database that encompasses the energy of the entire universe, then, whether it's digital or not or otherwise, Matt said maybe in the chat, how do you store that energy and the information? Maybe through crystals. You look at the Superman story, and what does he have? Crystals he brought from Krypton. So who knows? What the heck is going on here?
Well, think about what they were using maybe like thousands or millions of years ago. They had like papers. They had a paper trail. They had filing cabinets. Then they got upgraded when technology got better. So then they went digital. And then now they're getting even more advanced. So, you know, they got rid of their filing cabinets. Then they got rid of a lot of staff because they didn't need anybody to do the filing. So now they have like, you know, they have much more updated techniques to keep the data. So maybe they store it on a thumb drive, you know. They just stick it in a thumb drive and, you know, maybe each planet has a thumb drive with each individual, you know, on a different thumb drive, you know, or maybe some other data record keeping, or maybe they're all on a nano level at this point. They probably have you on a little chip that's like the size of, you know, your pinky. I mean, it's probably really easy to store that stuff now. It's probably in some kind of DNA database. And I was thinking also, going back to, like, you have the memories of your ancestors. So think about it, when you have past life regressions, are you really thinking of your past life, or you're just reliving your grandpa's life, you know, or your great-grandfather? You just have that digital memory in you, stored in you. So you have, like, years and years of generations of memory.
Yeah, the DNA memory. The DNA memory. That's exactly what Joe was talking about, saying that you know, that the most efficient way that we know of is to store data is through those DNA sequences. And so maybe, I don't know. I think that's the crazy part of this. Do you have us on stream? Could you turn that down just a smidge? I can hear us back through. Pretty please. Okay,
I'm not going to tap anything. I won't touch anything.
It just makes for bad radio. It's a terrible connection.
No problem.
Okay. So, all right. So I don't know. What do you think? Do you think that this is possible? If there is some sort of maybe a cosmic librarian out there, or this is just a little too much maybe juice, Mike Strange? Back off the maybe juice.
Well, it's a tough job. You know, I wonder, you know, how do you get that job? And like, once you have it, is this something that's like, it's an infinite job? Like, you just always did it and you always will. That's the thought, you know, that they look so tired and they'd be very wise, but very smart, you know, if they're watching us and keeping all this data. I mean, wow, that's like one step away from God, I guess. Wouldn't you think? You know, they're just like, that's their direct boss, I suppose.
Yeah, you would expect, right? And so, interestingly, this kind of leads into that conversation about the fallen ones, which in the Book of Enoch are also known as the Watchers, is what they call them, and they were the original angels, right? So what you just described basically would be like the lieutenants of God, right? In some terms, and in other terms, some people would say the Godhead or the Source or whatever. But these Watchers, whoever they are in this celestial manner, would report to that direct source, would they not? It seems like they would be literally the second in command of all of everything, wouldn't they?
Yeah, and I would probably do that. I would delegate authority and designate, you know, would give them a lot of power, because, you know, you can't keep in charge of everything. So I think they would have they'd have to be very responsible and very knowledgeable. But I wonder what the burnout rate would be, you know?
You're hilarious. You're like, what's the turnover rate for the Watchers?
Yeah, exactly. Let me see your resume. You know, what makes you think you're right for this job? You know,
right,
what have
exactly.
you done in the past to make you qualified? How did you find out about us? You know, where did you get this ad?
Where did you see the ad? Yeah.
You know? Wait a minute. I saw your Facebook. Wait a second. You're a little too much on that social media. You're going to have to give that up, you know.
Exactly. Stop calling people names on social media. It's a bad look for us. Yeah. I mean, who knows? It is fun to think about. It is fun to talk about, and that's why we do this. Daryl, you were the best. I appreciate it. I'm gonna let you go a little early because we got to get that echo off the phone, because we're coming back through, and it's not good. It's not good.
I got it.
We got to figure it out. So anyway, Daryl here has a YouTube channel, good stuff, and check it out. She's a singer. She sings in French and English. Link is in the description. I double checked today to make sure Daryl was there. Daryl is there. Scroll down. Give Daryl a follow on her YouTube channel. Thank you so much, Daryl. You're welcome to stay right where you're at. Just please mute up, and always a pleasure, my friend.
You got it.
Thanks a lot. There you go. Simple as that. All right, so we're talking about the Watchers. The Watchers. Who will watch the Watchers? And that's the question tonight, right? And all levels of Watchers, whether it's that digital eye of the Sauron surveillance state, or whether we're talking in the celestial realm. How big does this get? And then, of course, like Daryl brought up, who do the Watchers report to? Which is, again, my question. Who will watch the Watchers? 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. Let's go to Robert in Pennsylvania. Welcome to Troubled Minds, my friend. Go right ahead.
Hi. I'm wondering if those Akashic Records librarians kind of look like those librarians in some of those soft porn movies that I never watched. When
I believe you, too.
I never watched them. I was fascinated by something Joe said, Joe from Florida. He was talking about, the DNA, and frankly, so was Daryl, about your entire life's history being in your DNA. All right. And as a matter of fact, I was equally fascinated by Daryl saying about maybe that's what we have when we have past memories, is we're not really remembering we're remembering a past relative, that's embedded in our DNA, our grandfather or whatever. And if that were the case, that would mean that when we die and we reincarnate, we reincarnate into the same family always?
That's a good question. That's actually a good question. So that it starts to become like, again, we're talking like in terms of like digital databases. So I wonder if you're like, cataloged as, XYZ family, and maybe you get recycled into that same subgroup or something. I don't know. That's a hell of a question, man. Is this actually spawning a story? You got a new story for us coming?
Actually, what you're talking about tonight is there's a story I wrote that has a lot to do with what these Watchers. But I don't want to get into that until maybe a little later. Because I was thinking also, if there's a complete record of a lifetime in a dead person's DNA, let's say it's an Egyptian pharaoh, who's been wrapped, up as a mummy and preserved and stuff. We know that they could take DNA from that and determine what maybe sicknesses or whatever illnesses that particular person had. But if the whole record of, let's say it's King Tut, I don't know, if the whole record of that pharaoh's life is in his DNA, I wonder if he'll ever be able to develop a computer program or somehow be able to read the entire DNA, life's history, upload it to a computer, and a computer would be able to, like project it onto some kind of screen, and you'd be able to watch it.
Yeah, well, I think it's a fascinating idea because we do have what's known as genetic memory, right? And we have all that junk DNA that nobody knows what the hell it is. And so, like I was reading something not too long ago where it was discussing exactly that, when we walk into a room, we should walk in with all the confidence of our ancestors because it took thousands of people to back down the line just to create us. And we have their genetic memory built in, whether we realize it or not. And, we've talked about the power of the human brain and some of this other stuff. Maybe that's where this comes from. Maybe our intuition, that ESP, our sixth sense, the spider senses tingling. Maybe it's all from them. And pretty wild stuff once you start to think about it, huh?
Yeah, I have no doubt that there's probably going to, sooner or later, they're going to be able to dig everything out of somebody's DNA, convert it to data, load it up onto a quantum computer, and be able to see their entire life in Panavision, maybe. Anyway, to the Watchers, You know that we are watching ourselves from the moment we're born. We are watching ourselves, and we're not alone. There's a whole bunch of people, from the netherworld or whatever, who are watching us at all time, 24/7. They watch us in our sleep. All right, and it comes down to why we're even here. What's the purpose of being born into a physical realm and going through whatever we go through, whatever BS we go through, and then croak and go. And I said this in one of my stories, and I truly believe this. We're here to entertain the watchers. We're here. The watchers are the celestial audience. All right. Otherwise, the other side would be so boring. All right. They need entertainment too, and so we agree. We get together in our spirit lives in the other side. We decide what kind of life we're going to be born into. We decide who's going to we cast it. We pick, you spirit here are going to be my mother. You spirit here is going to be, and since you're my mother, you're going to go ahead of me, and that sort of stuff. And we write the script. It's like when you're talking, right, on your show, all right? You don't form the words in your brain before you say them, do you?
I don't. And I'm not trying to say I'm tapping into something, but it almost seems sometimes like automatic talking. Yeah, you're right. It just kind of comes. Yeah.
It's because it's a well-rehearsed script. I think that when we go to sleep, all right, that we go back to that. We go over our scripts, all right. And Shakespeare said that we're just a stage. The world is just a stage, and we are players on it. That we go and rehearse the script, and then we wake up. Everything we say is in the script, and that's why we don't have to form the words in our brains first before we say them.
We've already done this, and we're just doing it again. It's just stage time now.
Sure, we're here to entertain the celestial audience, all right. And then when we finally finished our play's over and we get off the stage, all right, and we go up there, they give us a grade. As far how good the play was, all right, and sometimes it's not so good. As a matter of fact, in my one story, they were very upset because the play that the guy wrote, he got tired. He had an awful one life, so the next life he decided to be very rich, all right, and carefree, and winds up at a very old age being drowned by a French prostitute in a bathtub, and he still thought it was a wonderful way to go, right? They were horrified in that story, that he took such a simple path, an easy path in the life. It was boring for them. What's boring, what's entertaining is the struggle, the disappointments you have, the tears you cry, the moments when you laugh. The drama of your life is what makes your spirits evolve, and it gives you the kind of reception at the end of the play. If you're going to, whether the watchers are going to stand up and give you a standing ovation.
Okay, gotcha.
Does that sound wild to you? Sound wild to you?
It sounds wild, but I'm willing to buy anything at this point, only because, like I keep saying, this timeline has been off the rails for quite some time now. So, yeah, I'm with you, man. I'm with you. It seems legitimate to me that maybe that's why. And again, you know what? When we get into the rest of this too, the Book of Enoch and the actual Watchers, the fallen ones, and things like this, right? Sophia, and maybe dream states and things like this that actually tie into this story we're talking about, is that now, in some cases, we're the creators, just like you've always said, and there's corroborating evidence for that. And again, like you said,
you're absolutely right. That's what our purpose is. We are We are here on this earth to create. All right? And what we create entertains the other side, the watchers on the other side. You're here to create. You created this show. This is as much a extraordinary production as a Rembrandt.
That's awfully nice. Thank you.
It's your creation. You created this. All right. I created a book. Every one of us creates throughout our lives. We create something. All right. Sometimes it's just that we create our own lives. You know, by living them and going through all the ups and downs of living and. But what you said was correct. We are here to create and entertain. We're all creators.
All right. Dance, Michael Strange. Dance. One of these days I'll learn to dance.
Don't sing. Don't sing.
Okay, just as long as I don't sing, we're safe. Don't sing and we're safe. All right, perfect. All right, so what about this idea of a larger watcher, like the set of watchers? And the question, who will watch them? Do you think, like Daryl suggested, that maybe this DNA code, as Dre said earlier and Joe said from Florida, that maybe this is actually the catalog of life in the universe, and there is a curator. There is maybe a set of them, or maybe one giant entity, but who does that person report to? Who does that entity report to? Or do you think that is the source?
Well, that's the Akashic records. All right. Once you completed the play that you wrote, scripted, directed, and produced, all right, and it's over, then that history, that play, just like we catalog a play here on Earth, gets cataloged into the library. All right. The question is, and this just made me think of an interesting question. I know you're going to be going to a break soon, so I'm going to make this quick. If it gets cataloged into the library, the Akashic records, all right, do they ever pull it out at some point and play it all over again?
The replay, the rerun.
Well, I mean, how often has Cats been, shown on Broadway stage? It goes on for years, then shuts down, and gets back up. Do they pull it out and they restage it? Do they do that with the Akashic records?
That's a hell of a question.
Sometimes, yeah.
And
you're going to break, so I'm going to let you go. I hope I haven't been too off the wall, but I'll talk to you later.
Nah, you're the best. You're the best. I appreciate it, Robert. Have a fantastic weekend. Always a pleasure to hear from you.
Bye.
Thanks a lot. There you go. Robert in Pennsylvania. He's got a book called Stories from a Fractured Mind. Link in the description. Check it out. I read it. He sent me a copy. It's amazing. All right. So we're talking about the Watchers and who will watch the Watchers. Just as a quick end here, that they say that in the book of Enoch, right, the Watchers are the fallen angels. They cohabited with human women and fell from God's grace. They are also referred to as the sons of God. Their monstrous offspring, the Nephilim, and the corruption the Watchers created on earth so revolted God that he decided to send a great flood to destroy all life on earth. And we'll get to that and more of this as we continue, because as you know, this story goes. The story continues. These ideas continue and they persist because, they exist in our minds. And that's the only place they need to exist, if I'm being accurate. Very good stuff, Robert. Appreciate the phone call. Great stuff from everybody as usual, because, that's what Troubled Minds is all about. The secret weapon of Troubled Minds is you. And our cup runneth over, and thank you so much for spending your time with us tonight and all the amazing phone calls. And as we finish, it is Thursday night, so that means that we do not have Troubled Minds tomorrow. So have a nice weekend style is what this looks like. But before we finish, if you're listening to us on the Fringe FM, stay tuned, of course, for Joe Roop Lighting the Void, and then Ryan Gable, The Secret Teachings, will be after that. If you're listening to us on any other platform, including the podcast feed, you got it. Stay tuned for a third hour of Troubled Minds. And as we finish that up, this is also how it goes, just a smidge. The bad news is we're done. The good news is, God willing, we've got tomorrow. That one's for my good buddy Jay out there. And so, of course, well, thank you so much for being part of this. Thanks for all the great folks in the chat. I see you guys out there. Shout out to the guys on the Fringe Discord. We got Catalina, Jestrix out there. We got Midgard Studios. I see you guys. Thanks for hanging out and being part of this. Lacey's there. What's going on, guys? What's going on? Hope everybody's well. Have a fantastic weekend. And as we finish, it also goes like this. Be sure, be strong, be true. Thank you for listening. From our troubled minds to yours, have a great night. Okay, all right. So that's whole, you guys are used to it, but the whole roundup on the end, it's not the end, but it's kind of the end because it's the radio end, but it's not the end because we got a third hour of Troubled Minds coming up. So this is the third hour. We are now off the Fringe FM, still streaming on Rockfin, YouTube, D-Live, and Twitter, and we're still talking who will watch the Watchers. What the hell are the Watchers? We can get to the Book of Enoch. We can get to other books of the Bible. We can get to biblical Watchers. We can take this wherever you want to go. I like how this actually began and sort of developed into that idea that DNA memory may be sort of that catalog of the Akashic record itself. And then on top of that, maybe there's a curator of such that keeps all that information just so we're able to access it. And maybe even, as Robert suggested, maybe at some point replay it. Wouldn't that be wild if you could download DNA at some point and then just replay your genetic history? That'd be wild. We're still taking your phone calls, looking to hear from you. 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. And the question remains, first off, who are the Watchers? And second, who will watch the Watchers? More Troubled Minds coming up, a third hour, which is for you. Give us a call. TroubledMinds.org, 702-957-1037. 2-minute break. Gonna go get my dog a stick because she's been very good. And we'll be right back with more Troubled Minds. Don't go anywhere. All right, welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange, and my webcam is broken, so bear with me just a moment, and we'll put my little face back up on the little screen, and everything will be just fine. Pretend like it never happened. And, well, tonight we're talking about the Watchers. What does it mean? Do you think there is some sort of celestial watch out there keeping an eye on us? And again, like Dre said up in the chat a ways back, I kind of agree. It's not a requirement of such that we're being watched in some capacity, even though, well, we're led to believe that that's always the case, right? Maybe it's a indoctrination process for, the great eyes in the sky. Who knows? But I think it's more fun to think about and just consider all the possibilities, and that's what this show's always been about. Drinking the maybe juice. What's up, Tysa? I see you there. I hope your day is better today. Thanks for coming and spending part of it with us. I appreciate that very much. And good stuff. Good stuff. We are talking about aliens. No, we're not. Maybe aliens? 702-957-1037. The question tonight is, who will watch the Watchers? Of course, we could take it from the terrestrial vein and talk about the surveillance state if you prefer. We can talk about satellites in the air. We can talk about, well, the Akashic record. All of it's on the table, and I'd love to hear your thoughts. Let's see. Who do we have? Who is here? Who's here? We got, what's up, Kelly? Kelly in Colorado. Welcome to Troubled Minds, my friend. How are you tonight?
Good evening. How you doing?
Doing great. What's going on? Do you have an idea of what's going on with the Watchers? What do you think these things are?
Well, I want to go two ways with this one. One is going to be, obviously, we're going to go to the Sumerian, which, ancient Akkadian, where it all started from, and then get into some of Zechariah's extension, where, first I want to talk about where, another biblical thing was found, like tablets and stuff, right? But first, for the digital side, right? Yeah, you have all the agencies, with the 3 abbreviations that are constantly doing surveillance. You know what I mean? So, to find out where all that's stemming from and who's running all that, you'd have to go on all the way to the higher ups and families. Then you get into generations of families where they all, you just go back into history. But yeah, for surveillance, real quick, I've there's some things that that's interesting where they'll say like the Watchers, right? Just that word. So there's been a couple things that are into the extraterrestrial side where you would talk about, like in the ancient one was they talked about would be like in the Norse mythology with the ravens of Odin, was a Hugmen and Nummen. I think I'm pronouncing that, or Hugin and Moonin. I believe that's what it is. I'm probably chopping that shit all up, but
that's okay. I do it too.
But those, they were. What's interesting about the story with those is that they would fly over the world and bring back information to Odin. Kind of like, some people think that that's what the Black Knight satellite is. Because it's an ancient satellite that's been there for a while. That's what the theory is on that. But they've just been photographed so much. It would say it is, but it's pretty interesting when I've seen some breakdowns on some of that. Some people have done some great videos on YouTube, but yeah, it's kind of weird that that some people will call that the Watchers. Like Odin's ravens. That used to bring him information. That's kind of weird when you think about that. That it was. That's where the whole ancient astronaut theory, where they think it was kind of that exact same thing, where it'd be something mechanical, like satellites or something flying over the world that could bring back information that that the God needs or something.
Yeah, agreed. It seems like even like the saying goes, nothing new under the sun, right? So was that like a digital data collection? The ravens of sorry, help me with the name. With Odin. Yeah, Odin. Yeah. Maybe it could be. And weird how, again, even what did I think Joe said too when he called earlier is that some people have speculated the ancient astronaut theorists, right? They say yes to nearly everything, but they've also speculated that there's a Noah's Ark was sort of a DNA bank, and it wasn't like an actual ship, because clearly how could you obviously fit all the animals of the world on a single ship? You could if you had their DNA in some sort of server or something like that, right? So I don't know. Something tracks, something also doesn't track. So I don't know. Pretty wild stuff.
Yeah, that's actually mentioned in the Zechariah extension, the Book of Enki. That's exactly what it is. It was just the DNA had the eggs and the seed or the sperm. They had both of them. That's the only way you could do something like that. There's no way that would be virtually impossible to have all animals of the world on a 2 pair on all over the planet. No, that ain't happening.
No, it's impossible. Space-wise, I mean, you probably could do it on a big island like Australia or something, but I mean, otherwise, no.
That's interesting too that you say that, because Australia's got some of the most unique animals, one of a kind, over on that land too.
Exactly. Shout out to Lily in Australia. What's up, Lily? She calls it the bush. That's as only you would if you live in Australia.
Yeah.
But yeah. Hey, go ahead, sir.
I just want if we're going to talk about the ancient parts, right? The biblical, and then we'll go in and then that's actually added in with the Sumerian writings, right? But first off, I want to talk about one thing before that.
You're cutting out, Kelly. It's a digital cutout. It wasn't your. I think just give it a sec. It's like an internet hiccup. I think we're good. Try it again. Yeah, try it again.
Okay. Okay, so in the beginning, before Zacharias Stinson, right, there's another thing that was deciphered, or from the cuneiform, which is an Arcadian cuneiform, right, which is found in it was the Library of Ashurbanipal, which is in Nineveh, and which is modern day Mogul in northern Iraq, right, and it was found by a man. It was an Englishman. He was self-taught too. His name was George Smith, right, and in there the incredible stories. He was actually self-taught as well, so when people talk about Zacharias Stinson and his, just because he's self-taught doesn't mean, what does that mean? I don't, biblical scholars and all this stuff. He his decipher is almost the exact same as George Smith or even Henry Rawlinson, right? These are different people that, that delved in these ancient writings. But anyway, in the seven tablets, or the seven tablets of creation, that's where you find all that. Most of it were, the Anunnaki story, where these, or the creation of our galaxy first, and then actually our solar system as well. That's where you get like Marduk, and they name these planets and stuff. Not Nibiru, but that before Nibiru was Marduk. But that was through the writings of the Ashurbanipal, right? Of the Enuma Elish. And in there, that's where they have like the whole biblical flood, the creation of man. That's all in there. And it's the exact same things of what Zacharias Stinson is. That's the only thing I would want to say on that. But as in Zacharias Stinson's, in the Lost Book of Enki, right? And then you have the Book of Enoch, which was, the Holy Ones. They were known as the Holy Ones back then, and ancient Hebrew, or even ancient Arcadian, right? But when you talk about the Watchers in the story of in the Book of Enki, they were the Agigi, and then the whole number that break it down to even the number of how many Agigi came from Mars. This is where they come from. That's where, and the Book of Enoch talks about they descended to Earth, right? But they were actually a group of what they called the Watchers, and the other ones that were, and in the Enoch, or in the Book of Enoch, it explains that they were the disobedient ones. That's where the whole story too. I combine with like the Book of Enoch or Book of Enki, where the Agigi, the number two, they came down from. The reason why they came here to Earth was for Enki's oldest son Marduk. He was having a wedding. He was getting married, and at the time he was ruler of Mars because it was like a way station, and he was getting married. And anyway, the Agigi, they've been away from, it's just them up there, the ones who were doing the mining and all that stuff that were on Mars as well. And, they said they were lonely, they just wanted companionship too as well. When they came here on Earth, that's when they took the daughters of men. But what's interesting in that story is they talk about when they came here, they came to the landing place. Now, the landing place in ancient, in that Middle East area was, is, if you look up Baalbek, Lebanon, right? The ancient word, just put in, if you look that up, I kind of was trying myself, but if you just put in Baalbek, Lebanon, the landing spot, or the ancient name for it is the literal meaning of it is the landing place, or the landing spot, right? These were like stations where their aircraft would come down and land, UFOs or whatnot, whatever you want to call them. But what's interesting in Baalbek, Lebanon, that's before the Pantheon, the Greek Pantheon, was all built on top. Those like 200-ton blocks, right? So we call it the ancient word was the landing place, right? So what we find is that in the story that they came here on the landing place, and they went, and when they snatched the female wives up, they were, and mated with them, which, they created the Nephilim, which is the giants, the giant-sized beings, right? But in there, what's interesting to me, okay, so in Lebanon, right? So they went to the Cedar Mountain, and that's where they like took cover, or they held there. But what's interesting now in Lebanon, since that whole place, Baalbek is in Lebanon, if you look at the flag, even of Lebanon, it's actually a cedar tree on the middle of it. So it's pretty interesting where, you get some, just even the wording where, some of these places are at, where, you have just the terms of the landing spot. And you look at those sizes of those blocks, 200 tons, who else would be able to move those things? And why would you need that? Especially if you're coming down and they're saying they're using rockets back then, right? Ancient technology, but it was, it's something that we have never saw. But you would need blocks like that, to handle the heat that the exhaust or something coming from a rocket to land on those spots.
Right. Yeah. And again, it is interesting how it all seems circular, doesn't it? Like cyclical. And to let you know too, when I was digging into this tonight, sort of stumbling into what the Watchers are, because there's so many iterations of this, like you're going through perfectly. I'm glad you're, as always, I'm not shocked that you know a ton about this. But when I was learning about some of this stuff tonight, it did lead back to exactly like you're describing that whole Anunnaki story. So I figured this would be a little bit right down your alley. So carry on, sir. Go right ahead.
Yeah. So so they're talking about the Watchers, which is the Agigi, right? They came here to make the Nephilim. The whole point with that too is how they spread across the planet, right? What's interesting too is all the way up through Asia, right? You'll find the most interesting ones they talk about. We talked about this earlier. I have talked about this before. Was the Kurgan that's over in Russia, right? They were giant sized people. They were 7-8 feet tall. They found some, but I'm pretty sure they were a lot taller than that. If you go by some of the biblical terms were when Moses sent the spies out and to some of these to the land of what was it in Russia, right? They were.
Oops, sorry.
They were so. Yeah, but,
my bad.
So,
go ahead.
All right, so yeah, So yeah, anyway, I just for me, I believe that okay, again, so we go to biblical terms, right? Moses sent his spies out. They said that we were like grasshoppers to them. We were in their sights, and that's what we are to them. But it was fruitful, so they had a bunch of fruit and stuff, and Moses was all excited. But they were saying, "No, man, there's a big ass giants and shit that lived over here." But if you look through that, that's where a lot of people don't. That's where you have a little smear campaigns on all this ancient. Or even on Zechariah's ancient, because they want to I believe they want to hide the truth of what these things. These are true stories. They're not. They just didn't write stuff shit. Okay, like the Book of Enoch, right? Some of that stuff was even in some of the canon that they have. Of the Christian Bible, right? Or even they talked about it in the Sauron, right? Which is a collection of books. But even in like the ancient ones in I think not in Egypt, but some of they claim to be the original Israelites, but Ethiopia, right? And that's where Lalibela is at, where it looks like they just cut that church right out of the the mountain where it goes down into. It just you just keep following. I just keep following. Like a lot of this ancient this stuff where the connections are at, and man, it's just for me, it's just surprising. It's just it's exciting to see some. I follow all that, and so for me, that's where I believe some of this stuff is true. I don't believe that they're mythologies or poems, what they want to call them. Like the book of Enoch, they claim that in the Torah that it's a poem of like of Marduk or whatever. But no, man, some of this stuff is. It's written in stone. Not only that, in stone, but why would they write it if it's just something that shit? They even wrote down in the ancient Sumerian writing. They wrote down everyday life. So they wrote down everything. And just because it's something outlandish that we couldn't believe that would happen in ancient times doesn't mean it didn't happen. So these ancient, the Watchers, I believe, still are around. If it's the ancient, if these stories are true anyway, that if we go back, these Watchers, the Agigi, they've been here. They left them here, right? That they went like the other part of the Sumerian or the Anunnaki. They went back to Nibiru, but it's coming back around. So, yeah, man. And if you're left here and they were actually that had that type of technology, and you imagine what thousands of years later, what they got now, man, who knows? Because sometimes we talk about like how something might be pushing society in a different way, where it's all war and what separation and stuff. It could be something to that effect,
Yeah, agreed. And back to that whole idea, like nothing new under the sun. It's these bizarre cyclical things, and we're not even talking about them in like I always say Bachtunes, right? Like these 30,000 year cycles or whatever. But we're not even talking that anymore. Like in the case you're describing, and Odin and the ravens and all the rest of the Anunnaki, we're talking millions of years, right? I mean, this stuff goes back. And I don't know, like I think that's the thing that makes me like most interested in this, is that it like there's so much time that we've had that has sort of kind of faded away to that, us as humans having that sort of generational and even beyond that amnesia. That it's like we know these things inherently somehow, but we also don't. It's like we have forgotten. I don't know. So it does. Again, you know me, man. I dig this stuff because it all seems cyclical. It seems like maybe like Robert even described, like maybe this has all happened before and we're just doing it again, just kind of playing out the stage. I don't know, man. Pretty wild stuff.
Yeah, I mean, that actually even that you brought that up was even down in South America. Now in the books, they talk about like how they created man all over the world, right? So, but in there, they said they kind of like forgot about the people that were down in South America, the natives that were there, that they believed in the old ancient ways with the it was like the snake. It was like symbolisms of a snake and a bird. What's interesting to me is like in the Americas, all even down from Mexico all the way up to the United States, our symbolism is the eagle, right? And some of the ancient stuff too. I seen another, I can't remember the video I was, but, to give him props on it. But it kind of had a breakdown of that, and then he had what they called the ancient, like, it was like the snake. But I believe some of that stuff was, the incarnation where they brought the two DNA together, where it looks like, the whole snake coiled, and that's where the medical thing is. And, there's all the way back into Sumerian, yeah, and even over in India and stuff like that, that symbolism is all over the place, where they intertwine a snake. They always talk about, but it's a different type of. I wouldn't say it was religion, but it's type of knowledge, what they called it. But back then, in South America, and you find stuff like that too. That's like Sumerian. You know what I mean? Like that bowl, the Fuente Magna bowl, which has got Sumerian. Like pre-Sanskrit, that is all, or not Sanskrit, but a cuneiform, right? Ancient cuneiform, Sumerian cuneiform inside the bowl, and stuff like that. It's just the stories are all the same. It's just they're just different because different parts of their factions were raising these civilizations. But the stories, the gods, are the names, and everything else are changed. It's just the same, But it's interesting too, man. But yeah, I like to get into that part too, real quick, with just about their DNA. What everybody was talking about, that kind of like blew my mind. Where when Derek was talking about with the DNA, maybe the memories and stuff we have, maybe it's just passed down from our other, like our family down the line, because even in science talks about that, like, that our DNA, we carry DNA from our ancestors all the way down, even especially if like traumatic, if they had a traumatic life, that DNA will be passed down through, generations, and that's why they think a lot of people have, still that feeling they don't know, that can't control, like gives them anxiety or whatnot, but they find that, we do carry our ancient DNA with us. And that's interesting that you think that maybe that's what some dreams are. That's some maybe juice stuff right there.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Tons to get into there. We got phone calls that we got to get to, my friend. You're welcome to stay as you always know. You're going to hang out? You're going to bounce?
No, man, I'll hang out.
Okay, stay right there. This is Kelly from Colorado, longtime friend of Troubled Minds. As far as I can recall, the very first caller we ever had, and it's been years, and Kelly's very appreciated. Hang tight, my friend. We'll get back to you in just a moment here. Let's go to, we got a couple calls, so we have a brand new call as well, so hang tight. Jennifer got in just before you. We're going to go to Jennifer, then we'll go to you. I see you there, so just be patient with us, trying to get everybody in. Let's go to Jennifer in Missouri. Welcome to Troubled Minds. Go right ahead, my friend. How are you tonight?
Hey, sorry that they have a new caller. And he could have gone to them first.
No, that's okay. That's okay.
But,
take them in order. It's all good.
This is a really fun conversation. I think that what you were mentioning about how these words are so old. And what's really interesting about that is that when you take the term for the Watchers and the interpretation of the word as meaning like, sorry, I wasn't really expecting him to get done so soon, but it means like to be awake and the guard almost is what the interpretation is, like Low Germanic from Wuka, I think is what the word for wake would come from. But aside from all of that, at this time in the world that they're talking about, before you had religion, what they believed in and their spiritual practices and everything, they weren't really they didn't call it religion. They didn't have that word yet. It was like their way of existing. And it was a much stranger way of thinking about the world back then. They would watch everything for signs and omens, and they had diviners and soothsayers. Before we had this modern world, or even the world we remember, there's talk from like the Chaldeans and just all of these, the Phoenicians and the Babylonians and the Sumerians and everything, that it could be something extraterrestrial, but at the same time, the world is so huge. And at that time, you had large land masses falling away, and land wasn't even in the same place it is today in this world that they were remembering when they were writing it all down, when they were putting it in stone to try to make sure that the future would see it. And these watchers it's possible, I think, that they actually had like whole priesthoods, and not just priestesses and oracles. And it was very important that they had these individuals who could see, who were awake, and they were watching for all things. And they were like up on the wall, so to speak. And they would bring these messages to the people and to the kings and the chieftains when there'd be instances of war or weather or famine or anything of the kind. And they were the ones who would see it, and their job was to see it. And so who's watching the Watchers? I would say that we would have been, that everyone would have been watching this class of beings and people, holy ones, that were watching and were messengers of whatever truth they would see in the signs and the omens. With Hunan and Munan, when they were watching the ravens of Odin, these were his birds, and it's not unbelievable to think that Odin actually did have tame ravens. There are stories of people having tame ravens as pets. But, I mean, aside from that, I think that these Watchers the story, but the fact that the way of their life, the way that these people were living their lives, and this was a class within their own sect of people. When they talk about giants and things like that, and I'm just putting it down to like a very earthly level, you could talk about them too, as far as the ETs and the angelic realm, and you can go that way with it. But I was thinking that possibly, and I wanted to bring that to it, that it could also be the oracles and the Watchers and the soothsayers and the omen seers that were now, reduced down to tarot card readers and astrologers and tea readers and palm readers. But there used to be much more to it than that. They would read the wind, the directionals, and the times and the stars, and where the planets were coming up over the horizons and things like that, for travel, for hunting, for everything in the way of life that they were living. And so I often, when I've thought about the Watchers, I've always thought that possibly they were the people and they were people who were set apart from everyone else, and their job was to hold the guard and to watch for the omens and the signs and the seasons and the times as they would come in, because it was essential to know it for times like war, childbirth, when to harvest, when to do everything. They would use it for everything. And it was much stranger times, and these people were not us today. They were us, but they had a different perspective. They didn't even have a word for their beliefs. They didn't call it religion, like we do today. But I wonder that, and maybe that's what it is, and we watch the watchers because they're the ones who see it first.
So okay, so like Robert described, maybe the like we said yesterday too, sort of that holographic situation where what comes first, right? Like we were talking about when you called yesterday, is it the idea? Do we conceive of the idea as the idea brought to us from somewhere else? It's the same idea, right? In that, if the watchers see it first and we get it from them, then who's really creating anything? Oh boy.
Or they're interpreting the messages coming from beyond, like they're seeing if something is not like it was yesterday, if something is different today, they'll see it first. And they know that when they see that, it means this. It means this kind of time is coming. And so they'd be watching for things like they've watched everything. Like they had a class of people that could be referred to in this way. And so they'd be watching for a wind blowing from this direction, or they saw, birds flying this direction, or there was a halo around the moon, or just any type of omen watching, or the soothsayers, because these things were very important for their way of life, and so something like that. But it could be anything. It could be all kinds of things. It could be anything.
Which is where you're in the right place, because it could be anything, and that's the whole point. So then the question becomes, then, Jennifer, who is watching the watchers? How big does this get?
I think that we do. I think that we would have been, and anyone could be watching. We could be watching, and if we see something and we tell other people, then we were the watchers, You were a watcher. So if you saw a sign of a time, if you saw something was coming, if you saw it, if you were awake and you could see. That's what it means. It means to be awake, not sleeping. So if you're awake and you can see things as the truth, if you can see the truth and you tell other people the truth that you're seeing, then you were watching, and then they were watching, or, they were hearing what you were saying, or how you would respond to that. So I'm just bringing it to more of like it's with us. It's always been with us. And that, maybe, and because what's inside of us, we're not just people, we are these holy ones, because we're the ghost, that's running the machine. We're the ghosts. But some of us are asleep and some of us are awake. And if you're awake and you can see the truth, and you're one of the watchers, if you dedicated your life to it, you truly were. You truly were. But if, anyone could see a truth sometimes. And when you'd see it, you'd know it, then that would be, it's us watching. It's us watching the watchers. It's us watching for the truth.
I see. So they're sort of through nature whispering the truth to us, and it's up to us to pick up on it. So I like it. I think. Go ahead.
No, that's good. I want to hear what the new caller says. That'll be good. This has been a great show.
Thank you. Great stuff from you as always. I appreciate the phone call. Stay warm out there. Jennifer has a YouTube channel. Please give her some love. Follow. Scroll down. Links in the description. Says follow Jennifer here. You're the best, Jennifer. Always a pleasure. We'll talk to you soon. Have a fantastic weekend. Okay.
You too. Bye.
Thanks a lot. There you go. Easy as that. 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link, troubleminds.org. And this is a new caller, so let's do that. We'll get to you in just a sec, Kelly. This individual's been waiting for over 20 minutes. So let's go to, I'm not sure exactly who this is. Welcome to Troubled Minds. You're on with Mike, and Kelly's here as well. What's your first name and where are you calling from?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Okay, cool. I'm a dinosaur.
That's fine. That's fine. That's fine.
I
Wait.
really don't know the technology that's been used, but my name is Todd.
All good. Okay, Todd. Todd from where? Just give me a state or a country, whatever.
I'm in South Florida. Florida.
Todd, Florida man. Yeah. All right. What do you got for us, Todd? First time. Love the first time callers. Love all the callers. Go right ahead. What are your thoughts on this tonight? Who will watch the Watchers? Go right ahead.
Where do you want to start?
You tell me. That's the whole premise tonight. And again, we could take it in the terrestrial world. We can take it to the cosmic world. It's all up to you. What's your take on this?
I have a biblical worldview.
Sure.
If that's not going to be offensive to you.
No, of course not. It's knowledge, and all knowledge to me is good knowledge. No, I don't reject that at all. I'm not religious myself, but I think there's a ton we can learn from those takes and those ideas. So go right ahead. You're welcome here.
Well, that's a very interesting take. I can tell you what's going on and who the Watchers are. I don't know where to start. I've heard, I guess I've been listening for 30 or more minutes, maybe 40 minutes, of people here who are talking about things. And I was a Far Eastern minor in college, and I got heavily into the occult and the New Age and many other things of the different religions, only to a degree that I think the Lord he cut me off, and that I know not to go in those places. And when people talk about millions of years ago, and I've heard you say that too, I know that you are actually not correct, but of course I can't prove this. It is a biblical worldview, we're really in trouble here because no one understands the gravity of what is really going on and who the Watchers are. Though that's just a word, isn't it? I would think. My point being is that
it's
the
more than that.
Watchers are demonic entities.
Okay.
And the Bible is real. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, well, the word Watchers is more than just a word. It's an idea. It's a concept. It's even an idea. It depends on who you ask, right?
I'm agreeing.
Yeah.
I'm agreeing.
Yeah. Okay. So you're saying they're evil entities, and I'm going to ask you about the archons in a little bit, but go right ahead. Tell us about the evil entities that are the Watchers. Go ahead, sir.
Okay. Well, I mean, we've been lied to about so much because remember, your lifespan might be 30, 40 years, maybe 50. Mine is almost 60. So I can tell you that we have not been on the face of the earth for longer than there has been a manipulation of truth, That is why they have coined the term Great Reset. Okay? Because really what it is that they want to adjust history because no one can have a comprehensive compilation of all the things that have happened throughout the world in their time. And we understand that the controllers, and if you want to get into that, that'd be cool. They have been executing this process to divide people upon belief systems, period, and I'll get into those belief systems, trust me, if you will, that we are just being lied to, and the objective is that we are spiritual beings. And I don't know if you understand that concept, but I'm telling you it is very true, and that you need to understand that with a biblical understanding, if you even don't want to go there, you have to understand that there are things outside of our comprehension. So what I'm trying to say to you, and with the Watchers, is that they are the fallen angelic remnant that came to Earth because they had nowhere else to go. Now I do not know what is outside of I believe in a flat Earth. So that should be stated here. But, I know from what I know because I know what I know. And the fact is that you're being lied to, my dear friend. There are spiritual entities on different, how do I say this, levels or plateaus, and they are basically watching, and they are getting into your body and your spirit. They have access that you can allow them, unbeknownst to you. If you are sinning, if you are doing things that are wrong, or you have aggression, or you have negative, I don't even want to say energy, but I want to say negative aspects to your character.
Yeah, I got you.
They're going to grab onto you. Okay, good.
No,
so
look.
What I'm saying to you is that,
just real quick, hold on. I think you misunderstand me. I'm not sure how long you listen to the show, but all the things, like not all the things, but let's say a great deal of what you're saying is what we talk about often on this show, and that's part of the whole point. Like I declare and I have that we've been lied to. I declare, and I have, and I'm going to continue that it goes deep, many levels. It goes not just in the terrestrial realm, it goes to the cosmic realm, it goes to spirituality, it goes to every other way. So a lot of the things you're saying is, yes, like I agree, right? But it doesn't, let's say I'm without doctrine, okay? But it doesn't mean I can't believe in some of the things you're saying, or even most of the things you're saying, right? So, and the whole point too, just to let you know, by the way, how long have you been listening to this show? Did you find us tonight?
Actually, I just got wind of you less than a day ago.
Okay. All right. That's cool. That's cool. Okay. Like I said, so you kind of don't know a lot about me, and that's fine. So I'm introducing myself in that, yes.
I'm not judging you, brother.
No, I know.
That was never entered into any conversation.
I know.
My friend.
I know. But I just want to let you know that, like I said, you're welcome. These ideas are definitely welcome here, and you got to and I don't want you to be offended in terms of.
I have truth. I don't have ideas. I have truth, my friend.
Okay, but hold on.
Truth.
But wait, hold on.
So
hold on.
I can share it with you. You don't have to accept it.
Wait, please.
That is
On
your,
wait, please. Wait, please. Wait, please. Wait, please.
Your knees.
Wait, please.
There.
How many times do I have to say, wait, please, wait, please, wait, please, wait, please. Let me finish, please. Let me finish. Look, my whole point with all of this is to bring those doctrines and those ideas together. Now, you say truth, and you have the truth, all right? To me, truth is extremely difficult because you can ask 1,000 people the same question, and truth is different for every single one of them. Now, look, I respect you, and I respect your idea of the truth, but I'm sorry, but just because you call and emphatically say it's the truth, I shouldn't accept it as such. I should listen to what you have to say from its content. Okay, just to let you know, that's the whole point here. So not just you, everybody shares their ideas, and they have different ideas from different areas. And again, if you just found us, you may not realize this is glass half full. This is not doomsday. This is not the end of the world. This is not a cult. This is not doom preaching. This is, let's talk about what's wrong with the world and talk about why we believe that is. That's it. It's a simple concept, okay? So if you, and just careful. And what I mean by telling me this is the truth and that's it, like I said, I can accept it or I cannot, but just to let you know, we're in a place where there are many truths, by my opinion. But go right ahead.
Listen, my friend, I would love to be your friend and to embrace you and to walk. I never said I was perfected. I have only tried to state because I have experience that you would not understand, comma.
That you may not understand, comma. But go ahead.
I don't know what you mean by saying that, my friend.
Well, then I don't know what you mean by saying that. I mean, look. Are you seriously saying that your experience, because it's yours, is more valuable or more truthy than mine? That's all I'm saying.
What I'm saying is that we need to go ahead.
That's all I'm saying. You go ahead.
I'm saying is that if this were a true discussion, we could throw our understandings and our experiences into the ring of truth, period. And I am saying is that I have experiences that you do not understand, so that I can talk from actual truth, because I am in the flesh as you are, and yet I understand the spiritual quotient, and I am sure far more than you, because I've heard many diverging aspects spoken in the 45 minutes that I have been online, and I understand that people are different levels of understanding. So what I'm trying to do is share with you. I'm not trying to bat you over the head, my friend. So that is why if someone sees this, they'll understand that I am giving a fair exchange to the truth. And whether they want to believe that is in their own walk, because the Lord Jesus Christ does not have his hand on every single person. But truth is needed in these days because we're being lied to on many fronts, period. Go ahead.
That's what I said. That's exactly what I said. And I agree with you. All right, so we're running out of time.
I mean, to a degree, I thought you did, and yet you're not really making yourself clear as to where you are in this dynamic. Meaning the fact is, if you believe it is spiritual, that the Bible is real, or you disagree with the Bible, and that all religions have something to do with these postulates, okay? Because I studied Far Eastern religion, and I know that Satan was on the world far longer than man or you or I was on the earth. So you need to start with these dynamics, my friend, these dynamics, okay? So I'm not trying to bat you over the head. I'm trying to tell you things that I know for a truth. And whether you believe them, that is your choice. All I am trying to say is that we need to have a clear understanding of what the truth is, not just expostulate on it, not just ruminate and think there are divergent views and continue that argument forever and ever, because there will not be a forever. Because this is a spiritual existence, and this is a spiritual battle. And you need to understand that if you are walking in the truth. If you're not walking in the truth, you'd be like many of these shills out here that want to say that they are this and they are that, but they are not walking in the truth. And I'm not a person that is actually trying to lead everybody. I am scared. I'm scared for everything. I have my own personal problems. And I'm trying to tell you that I understand the truth because it has been presented to me through the Lord God, who has preserved my body so that I do not die and go into sin and be subject to the tortures of the devils that are awaiting people. And people want to believe that these religions and that the earth was here millions of years ago. I'm sorry. I'm going to tell them they're wrong, but they don't have to believe me. That's up to them.
Let me ask
you that Todd, the reality is that the Bible is what it says it is, and if you do not have the Holy Ghost to inspire you to understand these things beyond the daily or even the monthly, because it says you need to walk in the day, for the evil of that day is evil.
Todd,
go ahead, man.
Let me ask you, what if I told you straight up, emphatically, with all of my heart, I believe you're wrong? I'm not telling you that. I'm just asking you.
Why?
Wait. I'm just asking you. What if I told you that?
That's a simple question. Anybody hears this is going to know it's a simple question. Why are you saying that?
I'm saying that your life experience is way different than mine. I'm saying that the things that you say you've seen, you have no idea what I've seen. I'm saying that.
And am I not trying to share my life experience with you?
Yes.
Question mark?
Yes, of course. And as I am with you, but my point to you is, my friend, I am not trying to tell you my life and my life experience is your truth, nor should it be. And I respect you, and I thank you for finding us.
I'm not battering you over the head about that. That's true. Your experiences are yours alone, and you do not realize that you are a finite creation. Okay, so that things that you think that you want to talk about, you are beyond your comprehension because it is not your life. You are a finite being who was brought into the world a few decades ago or whatever, and yet you want to believe these things. And yet the truth is universal. I am not making money off telling you the things that I know in my experiences. I am trying to tell you that we should have a discussion. And I love the fact that you want to have a discussion. But please talk to me straight.
Bro, okay, hold on. I'm going to end this call because we only have so much time. No offense to you. This is the thing, right?
That is an offense, my friend. Oh, that's a big offense. We should have a discussion.
You've been on for 15 minutes. Look, and this is what I'm telling you. You just found me.
I don't know your time constraints, my friend. I do not know your time constraints.
Well, then how is it an offense if we've got 10 minutes left at the end of the show? I haven't checked who else is even calling in and the rest of this. And I'm just saying, look, you look, and I'm sure you understand this. You came into my house, and now you're trying to make the rules, and now it's an offense to you when I've given you more time than anybody else. The caller before you. Wait. The caller before you cut herself off early so you could hop in here, and you've been on nearly twice as long as she was. All right?
Oh my God! Please don't even play that. Come on, my friend. Listen.
Adios, brother.
Listen.
Adios. Look. Number one, don't fucking preach to me ever. Right? You don't know a damn thing about me, and if you did, you would go back and listen to the things I've been saying for years. Look, I'm sorry. I don't like people who are like truth, and your truth is not the truth. Like, how the fuck do you know? Honestly, it agitates me. You're welcome to call back anytime, but listen, don't assume you know a damn thing about me just because I didn't bite it hook, line, and sinker, okay? I'm not kidding you. I gave you twice as long as Jennifer. Jennifer calls into the show all the time. And now you're offended? No, I'm offended that you're going to dictate my time and my show in this space and then tell me what truth actually is. This isn't a show about truth. This is a show about discussing the possibilities of a possible truth. Sorry. Not doing that. I don't do that. I absolutely don't do that. So you're welcome to call back. I don't know where you found us. Like I said, don't preach to me. Don't assume things about me that you have no idea whether they're true or not. It's simple. There you go. 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link and we'll put you on the show. And that's that. So we got a few minutes left. Like I said, the time constraints of the show are approximately 3 hours because I've been at this for 3 hours, right? And so, again, just because your time frame is however the fuck long you want it to be, well, sorry. Monday through Thursday, 7 p.m. Pacific, hop on whenever. You're welcome back. But yeah, I'm going to get agitated when you start telling me the things I know are not real. And not only that, you have no idea what I know because you found the show 45 minutes ago. Come on, man. Like, Todd, think. Come on, man. Anyway, like I said, you're welcome back and we can be friends and it's all fine. Just, anyway, so all right, Kelly's still here. So again, right, Kelly's been waiting for a damn ass long time. Kelly, thanks for hanging out. Thanks. Oh shit, we got Ash too. Go ahead, Kelly. Sorry about that, man. Sorry for the whole digression. Real quick too, before you go, shout out to Robert on Rockfin. Thank you for the tip. He says Mike blinked out one more time. the glitch in the Matrix. Sorry, Kelly. Go ahead. Was I too rough with Todd? I'm sorry if I was, but sorry not.
No, man. That's all good. That's, it's your show. And I've dealt with a lot of guys like that, because they want to be a little bit more forceful, you know what I mean? And I was ready for just to hear his theory, because that's just what it is. Everybody's got one. You know what I'm saying? It's not, you could let him, I was about just ready to say, hey, just let him call it the truth. Let's just hear it. But he didn't even do that. He wouldn't even continue. It was just something that he felt like he was being disrespected or something. I mean, he called up to our show, so I don't understand where that went from. But other than that, I mean, I was still, again, I would like to hear what he thinks is the truth. I mean, because again, I've heard many truths. There's many truths out there that people believe in. So, I mean, who's to we to ever disagree? But just because it's theirs doesn't mean it's everybody else's. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, agreed. And you've been here as long as anybody, longer than everybody even. And that's the thing. It's like, I don't know where you get the vibe thinking Like again, we get some people who come in here and don't know anything about this, and they think this is this fucking Sean Hannity show. And like again, the whole division politics and all the rest of that stuff, right? It's like, come on, like exactly, I'm with you. Well, spit it out. What's the truth? I think the truth is what he was getting at. The Bible's real. This millions of years old is not real. It's like the short Earth theory. Or the Earth is only 8,000 years old. Things like this. And I'm sorry, I think he's emphatically wrong, right? But my whole point was, like, he's telling me I'm emphatically wrong for considering those possibilities. And my point to him was, what if I told you were also emphatically wrong? And then, right? Like, nobody likes to be told that shit. Nobody wants that, right? It's just like, come on, like there's better ways of discussing ideas with people than, well, I'm sorry, my friend, you've been fooled and this is not the truth. The truth is, let me explain the truth. Let me take 20 minutes to get there and then tell you that you don't know anything about anything. And I've been listening for 45 minutes and you've been all over the place. Of course, because this is the fucking Maybe Juice show. We're supposed to be all over the place. Whatever. Anyway, it's okay. It's all good. It's all good. Like I said, you're welcome back, Todd, if you're still out there listening. My guess is he rage quit because, whatever. I was agitated. And I apologize for being agitated. But go ahead, Kelly, on your thoughts there, on the rest of this and all the rest.
Oh, man, and get back to the show, though. I don't know, man. I don't want to go down with that guy, but, I mean, it's like, again, to me, it's just somebody else's, theory or whatnot, because even though if they live something, it sounds like he had lived a dramatic thing and he's seen something. I mean, that's just kind of like what the Bible is, that's what religion is. That you're trying to experience, you're living somebody else's experience, kind of like even if it was a Jesus, they're trying to push that narrative down your throat where that's the truth and that's the only truth, But here we have a more what we call troubled mind, and you have to you hear everybody's experience because and they're not the truth. They're the truth to him because they lived it, but that doesn't mean that they're going to try to suppress that on somebody else and say that, hey, you got to believe what I believe. Some people know more the truth than what he's thinking either. Their experiences of something else that maybe had been abductions and whatnot. But here, we just don't do that, man. And he needs to understand if, I was still ready to hear his story, but, I mean, he was just being disrespectful. And besides that, anyway, let's hear what Ash has got to say.
All right, let's do it. Thank you, Kelly. And again, like I said, Todd, if you're still listening, it's fine. You're welcome back. But the thing is, look, just like Kelly said, just tell me your idea. Like, you don't have to preface everything with again, we talk about the Bible. I was about to talk about the Bible before you actually called in and talked about it yourself. But I mean, right? We can agree and disagree and still be friends, and that's the premise that you don't get. That's the premise you don't get. Anyway, Ash, what's up, brother? How you doing? Welcome to Troubled Minds. You're on with Mike and Kelly. What the hell's going on, man? Where has the reptilian been?
Hey guys, how's everyone doing?
Chilling. Just hanging out, man. Having a Maybe Juice Thursday and talking about crazy shit per usual. You already know. You don't even got to ask. My webcam died again. Damn it. But yeah. Go ahead. What are your thoughts? I know you've been lurking for a little bit. So we're talking about the Watchers tonight and the idea of who will watch the Watchers.
Who's watching the Watchers? A word comes into mind. Are you on the radio right now?
Negative.
Okay, the word is cuck. Whenever I think of watching, you're not on the radio, but that's the word that comes to mind when you say watching. So speaking of cuck, there's actually a Twitter account called Cuck Mantis, and the whole reason for that Twitter account is there is during the abduction phenomenon at the top of the hierarchy, there's those mantis beings I love to talk about. Sometimes they kind of just while weird, stuff is going on, some of the stuff with the abduction, they're in the room, standing in the corner. So someone created this Cuck Mantis Twitter account. I just thought that was funny. Who is this mysterious person who's read enough about that literature, thought that was funny, and then created an account? So anyway, look for that Cuck Mantis on Twitter. It's not me. It's not me. It is not me. I swear to God. It's not me.
You. There's your public service announcement from Mars. Check out the.
There you go. You guys haven't seen me heard from me in a while. There you go. I figured I'd contribute. So.
Oh boy.
But no, good patience, Mike. I get triggered really easily, and I get it, and I also understand his perspective. He believes something, and that he believes, we have the same concerns. We're looking around. We're trying to figure it out. Even if he believes there is a truth, right, that these truths are real, you don't know, like Mike, you could be literally a demon doing a podcast. He wouldn't know that, right? See what I'm saying? There's some things it's not, you're not omnipotent, so there are things that you do not know. So even if you believe that's your beliefs and these are your beliefs, and he didn't really get to explain a lot of it, that's your foundation. You still have to navigate through life, through reality. And that's what we're here to do, is do that together, right? We all have different experiences and stuff. So even if you want to share your truth, your foundation of who you are and what you believe, there's still a fucking huge stack of shit on top of that, which is reality, the everyday that we have to live through. So yeah, and good job being patient. I think he just needs to look. If you want to, if you're still listening, man, just like work on your language. Like you got to win people over before you can change their hearts. And if you believe in Jesus, you believe in God, that's in the literature too, right? You have to touch their soul and touch the heart. I believe we have souls. I don't know why. It's just a truth that resonates with me, right? But I don't know what the fuck that means, and there's a lot of reality we don't know what it means. And so are there people watching? Dude, there's gotta be. Life is so crazy. The fact that we're even here, someone's managing / watching, right? You know what I'm saying? Shit is crazy. I go outside, there's a bird chirping, and life can be really good. It can be really bad, but it's an experience, man. It's like a video game. It really is like a video game. You could be a murder hobo, like they say in D&D. You could be that in real life. You're not going to go very far, but
what the hell is a murder hobo?
In Dungeons and Dragons,
how did we get here? What just happened? what just happened? No, Ash shows up and we're like cuck mantis and murder hobos. What is going on, bro?
It's been a while, Mike. It's been a while.
Apparently,
like Jon Stewart, his thing. It's been a while. I've gotten weird. COVID,
Clearly. All right, so please explain a murder hobo to me. I don't know what you're talking about.
So Dungeons and Dragons, the idea is that it's like a whole world, and then you jump into the world and you're a character. But some people don't want to play the character; they just want to kill people and roll dice. A guy approaches you, he suggests this, and you just stab him.
I stab him in the neck. Stab him in the neck. Roll a d20.
So it's murder, and you don't have a job, you don't have you don't care about any of that. So you're a hobo. So you're just a murder hobo. That's what they call in D&D.
Oh, okay.
So
all right.
Yeah. So you're. I don't know if you guys ever get that feeling like you're playing a game, and the more you kind of believe that, and the more you kind of resonate with that, the more you can kind of manipulate reality to some degree. But it's weird. It's life is fucking weird, and so the fact that things are even holding together, there's that one volcano exploded underwater, and it was only 2 deaths. And I don't know if you've seen footage of that. I was like, what? Only 2 deaths? That should have that's crazy. So we get lucky all the time. And I every day I appreciate life, and it's just, it just doesn't feel like it's on accident. It feels like someone's watching, managing, So anyway, yeah, sorry. If
no, you're fine. You're fine. You're
loosely
fine.
tying that. Yeah.
No, you're okay. You're okay. The interesting part, too, I think you could probably rewind. I don't know. Kelly's been listening for longer than anybody. We talk a lot about the Bible, right? A lot about some of these old doctrines and things like this, right? When have I ever just had my last nerve with something like that? I mean, I'm a pretty patient dude most times.
For sure. And that's the responsible thing to do, is hear things out, right? And learn and grow. And yeah, go ahead, Kelly. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, everybody, I mean, I talk a lot. I'm not even religious, and I talk about it because I read them, you know. It's not like, I look for, you know, ancient knowledge as well, but I'm not, you know, I read it just to be curious and, you know, and whatnot, because there's, you know, even with the Christian religion, right? There's, you know, how many different sects there are, you know, there's like different types of, you know, there's Baptists, they're all Christian, though. That's what they call themselves, as Christian, right? But, you know, truth for like he's claiming it's a truth, right? For me, I'm looking at like, man, there's been 9,000 truths that I know of that, you know, they're gods, 9,000 gods that has been, you know, worshipped on this planet and counting. So, you know, that's 9,000 truths too. So, you know, and then everybody wants to say that, you know, there's the right truth, but there's knowledge in all of it. I'm not gonna, you know, never say that there's not, but
same.
You know what I mean?
Same.
Yeah. So you gotta, you know, explore all. You just can't say nah. You know, there's some stuff that I don't like, but you know, I still look at it, you know, as it is. I don't look at it as, when I read it, I'm not, you know, I'm not like, if, you know, a religious person, so I'm not going to take any of that by word. You know, I read it more like as a book. You know, I want to see what their, you know, their interpretations or their you know, whatever. Because there's also been stuff that's being rewritten. Of course, we know that. So, you know, a lot of that stuff you got to, you know, separate, kind of, you know, dissect of what you find that, you know, what I look at, that I wouldn't say truth. I make them connections. If there's connections of all these different religions, you know, that's where, you know, we do here, you know, because I make a lot of different connections, and a lot of people as well here, is, you know, throughout all religions, you know, different, what are they really exactly talking about? You know, was it extraterrestrial, or was it, you know, from another vibration? What really is it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. Night Stalker says this, and this is funny. If a literal Bible believer isn't telling you you're doing the work of Satan, do you really have a podcast? I guess probably not. I guess you're right. I mean,
that's a good point,
right? And I, you guys know me. The whole point of this is like, the whole idea is not to like get into division arguments, and that's exactly what that is. Like. Well, listen to me, son. I know the truth, and the truth that you know has nothing to do with the truth I know, because the truth I know is superior to the truth that you know. So sit back and listen, my friend, and I'll tell you the ways of Jesus Christ. And I got nothing against Jesus Christ. I want to hear, but fuck's sakes, don't be condemning me. And anyway, whatever. It's fine. I'm over it. Let's get the fuck out of here. Unless Ash has got some more funny shit to say. Actually, I want to hear Kelly's comment on the murder hobos. What's up, bro? or the mantis cuck. What's going on? Cuck mantis? Is it cuck mantis?
Yeah, cuck mantis, bro.
Cuck mantis, bro.
Ash comes out of left field from
even for Ash.
Like, you know what? You got to expect it from this reptilian ass.
Very good. I love it.
Very well. The humans are conditioned for the invasion perfectly.
Yeah, they shall accept us as rulers shortly enough. You know, I was watching Spider-Man. Speaking of reptilians, just real quick, is the new Spider-Man No Way Home. If you haven't seen it, pretty good movie, made record box office if you like Spider-Man. But they had that one villain in there, the lizard. God, man, does he look like a reptilian? Like every time I see him on screen, I'm like, I don't know. That's a little sketch, you know.
Maybe.
But yeah, so the Watchers, I missed the show. I just came in on the last caller.
Your timing is impeccable. And brought us some murder hobos. I love it.
That's it. That's what I'm here to do, baby.
That's it. Hey, I'm going to put you on the spot. We got you on the air, and all these people are listening. Axel wants to do the second part of our role play. You in? Tell me you're in. You better be in.
Well, you know, I have to check my schedule.
Let me check with the Watchers. Make sure. All right. Well, let me know if the Watchers.
No, yeah, I'm down, man. It was fun last time. I had a blast. I think that's fun. I loved being a drug addict visionary.
All right. Perfect. All right. I'll let him know. He's been asking me. I'm like, I don't know. And I told him. I said, look, Ash is a busy dude. He's got a lot of things going on, right? You think I'm a busy dude? Ash is a triple busy dude because he's got like a like a whole he's got a family here on Earth. He's got a family on Mars. He's trying to juggle all the things. It's tough work. It's tough work being a interplanetary species. And so, well, that's it. So if you're in, I'd love to have you, of course, because I'm looking forward to it as well. So we'll set that up then. Book it.
For sure.
Book it.
Sounds good, man.
All right, cool.
Awesome.
So regarding the Watchers, then, what's your thought here? So aside from murder hobos and the mantis cuck, who's the actual Watchers? Is it some sort of I don't know, greater sentience, like in the Marvel universe we talked about? They have these kind of like these big-headed aliens that were like one of the initial races in the universe, and they sort of, as we were describing tonight, sort of curating the Akashic records, right? Think something like that is even possible?
Well, so when it comes to watching, besides the cuck thing, I think the most important aspect of watching is like time, right? It's because you can watch things go by, but if you can skip ahead, I mean, that's one of the greatest abilities, right? For anyone to sort of manage, if you know what's going to happen, right? Like if I eat Taco Bell, I know what's going to happen, right? It's kind of like, so I won't eat Taco Bell, right? And so through the conspiracy theory zeitgeist, I pay attention to a lot of the time things that pop up that permeate through. So there's one where the pretty common one is that extraterrestrials, different ones have the ability to kind of move backward and forward through time. That's like one of those proven theories, like the fabric of space and time, that those two things are connected, and that you can, if you can move forward, if you're the first one to have time technology, right? If you're the first one, you pretty much are it, right? You can kind of control the timeline and manage it in a way that no one else can kind of challenge your authority. So the first aggressive person to manage time sort of wins. And supposedly there is like, this is an aspect of these different extraterrestrial races and factions and stuff, and they use time with each other, and they watch timelines and manage it. It's all infinitely complex, and it becomes mixed with religion, religious ideas and concepts. So it just, I mean, when you're thinking of time anyway, like go back in time and shoot your grandfather on the toilet, you know, what happens kind of stuff. And it unravels the brain, and I think it's beyond human comprehension. But yeah, like someone who watches would have to be outside or in control of that variable time, right? And so yeah, it's kind of like the destiny versus the free will destiny kind of thing. Like, if there are these watchers, do we have free will? I don't know if anyone brought up the Marvel Loki show. Have you seen that?
I haven't seen it. No, I've heard a lot about it though.
Yeah, I'll try not to spoil anything. Basically, there's an agency that manages the timeline, and it's very clear, very early, that it's more powerful than any crap that's ever happened before. And it's because they manage the timeline, right? And the only people that can touch them are others who manage the timeline. And at one point, there's these various time factions, but like, so I'm trying not to spoil it, but basically everyone who can control time is on another tier, and they battle each other until there has to be a conclusion or whatever. So what I'm saying is, like, these a watcher, an entity, the person beyond, you know, you hear stories from the Men in Black and these kind of weird paranormal experiences, or people are abducted and they're told what's going to happen to them in the future, like, and it exactly happens to them. Like, what is this? And like, what is this veil where all this crazy stuff you hear about? Like, is it just crazy stuff you hear about, or is there like another veil of reality just behind it, and these entities, these watchers, can exist?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Or maybe I do know. I know the truth, and you have to listen to me, Mike.
Yeah. Well. Okay. Well. Speaking as such, we've got another phone call, and I think it's individual in question. So we'll go here. We'll try this a second time, and we'll wind this up. And again, you guys don't have to stick around for this. I'm going to just make sure everything's in my best good graces to make sure that we patch this up and make sure everything's fine, because I'm in this business to make friends. I'm not in this business to just call people out and get mad and all that stuff, as you guys know. So I'm going to try this one more time. And, well, you guys are welcome to stay, hang out. Kelly, anything? You want to hang? You want to see? You want to wait? What's up with you, man?
No, man, I'm curious. So
okay. I'm going to ask the same question. All right. The same thing to you, Ash. You guys are welcome to bounce whenever, as you already know. We're doing it. We're going back to Todd. What's up, Todd? Welcome back to Troubled Minds. Go right ahead.
Yeah, I hope I didn't offend you, my friend, but you hung up on me. I mean, I'm not trying to...
okay.
You know, when it comes to the truth... Go ahead.
Just real quick. So we did all this, the circular, the truth bit. So how about we just cut to the chase and you tell us what the truth is? How about that?
What is the truth bit? I don't know why we'd say something like that. That makes no sense. The truth is that there is a certain truth. Truth is not anything extemporaneous. It does not include everyone's fancies. It really has to do with that there is a truth, and that if you do not want to walk upon that truth, that is an individual's choice. Does that make any sense?
Sure it does. Go right ahead. So what is the truth? Like I said, we spend all this time leading up to the truth, and we never got to it. So please explain the truth. We're just waiting. What's the truth?
Your topic was the Watchers. I was hoping to give you a lot of information, though your response, I don't understand why you responded the way you did. So my point is that there are spiritual forces, period. The Bible is true, and yet people do not understand, nor can they decipher, because maybe God does not have their hand on them. But that's not sound mean. It means that if you hear this and you want to find the truth and walk in it, then it's there. There's no many other dimensions. There's two. Either you're going to heaven, or you're going to find yourself where God had cast that out, the fallen angels, and you're going to go there. I mean, and they love to have you. Do you understand supernatural tortures forever? I mean, really, my friend. I mean, this is where, even if I'm saying things that are not within your category, I understand that, there's a need to express the truth to people at such a time as this. And it's very dire. I mean, I'm not saying I'm saved. Listen, I'm a sinner. I'm not preaching. I'm not trying to bat people over the heads as people that say they know the truth too. Listen, I know about I've been at this for like 5 decades. So, I mean, you can throw anything at me and I will answer, even though I've not been continually studying upon it since maybe the last 20 years. I have met the people that know the truth. I have talked to them. So I know what is true and what is not true. And I'm not saying that makes me a good or an important person. I don't want to be at the center of anything. I'm trying to tell you that there's a reality in the spiritual realm, that everything is spirit. This flesh that we experience is going to be, it's just like a match, and then when it burns out, it's done. I mean, for real. I mean, the spiritual is everything. But people decide what that spiritual is for themselves. And I'm just trying to share my information with you. It's not about batting you over the head. I'd love you to say that, hey, I'm actually working for the forces of Satan who have been on this earth forever and ever, and they have been institutionalized before we were ever born on the face of the earth. It's not like a game or anything I'm trying to win. I'm trying to share what I know so there can be community of people that love the truth, that are actually, loving people that don't want to look into the truth. Because I can't prove to you, like I had said in the text earlier on Facebook, I can't touch the ends of the earth to prove it's flat, like in the Truman Show.
Okay, hold on.
Maybe someone can.
Okay, so wait. Just let's slow down. Like I said, we don't need all the qualifiers. So what's the truth about the Watchers, please?
Okay, well, I mean, I don't know why you keep saying qualifiers. I wish you wouldn't make that plain what you're talking about qualifiers. What do you mean? That's diminishing what I'm saying.
I mean that you, okay, so now 20 plus 22 minutes now you've been on this show talking, but you haven't actually got to the point of what the actual Watchers are. So what is the truth regard? That's what the show's about tonight. That's what the show's about tonight.
They're demonic entities that are fallen beings that God cast out from heaven. And there were different invasions, if you will. Some people say there are 2. Some people say there are more. But these are the beings that are parasites because they are in dry places, and you will find that in Scripture. So they need, like you want to go onto a computer and play video games. Think about that a millionfold. These beings here are attaching themselves to you and your dreams and your experiences, and they are just using you because they know where they're going, but they're enjoying the ride. It's a pretty freaky thing. I agree.
Okay.
But the Watchers are not angels of God.
Okay.
They are the fallen angels.
The fallen angels. And what I was going to ask you before I got agitated, and I did, and I apologize for that, is, so what about...
That's okay. Listen, man, I'm not trying to... Listen, I'm not trying... I want to make friends, okay? Just let me tell you, I want to make friends. But listen, I'm used to the abuse. So that's okay. It's probably my fault.
Abuse. Abuse. Okay, look. All right. Now, just a real quick question, and we got to go because it is a time frame parameter. I've been standing in this spot for 3 hours plus now doing this show. Let me ask you a quick question. You're welcome back anytime. Thank you, Todd, for calling. Thank you for finding this show. Real quick, can you tell us what you know about the Archons? Does that fit into what you're describing here? Are they the same thing or are they different?
Listen. Okay, listen, I came to this a lot longer and probably far, far before you did. I know there are different definitions of archons. So, I mean, you need to define the parameters. I mean, you know what I'm saying is true. So, I mean, that would be a question that we could delve into.
Okay.
But the archons, I mean, there's just terminology. There's different terminology for what really is. There are spiritual entities that have different hierarchies, and they are working through the earth, and they have hybrids, and they also have families. So listen, I know what I'm saying to be true, and I don't care, because I hate this life, so they can do what they want with me, but I'm not going to give up what I know as to be the truth. So you can either hear what I'm saying and want to work with me, and I work together. Listen, I don't know anything. I'm stupid. But I've gone through experiences that have shown me the truth, and that's why it's dire at this very time in history, because we're being lied to, and that's part of Satan's theology. His whole company is here and been ongoing since before we were born. It's that simple. But we have to recognize that there are beings in the world, across the world, that are part of this cabal. And they have a company.
I get it. I understand. I appreciate your truth. Thank you for sharing it with us. This is a topical show, and we do different things every single night. So if you're into this idea of considering all the possibilities, you're in the right place. Thanks for sharing your ideas. Thanks for calling back. Thanks for not taking it personally. We do have to go. I'm not kidding you. I'm standing up. I've got a standing desk. I've been standing here for 3+ hours in the same spot. Okay. We do have time parameters. Thank you for calling. Thank you for sharing. You're welcome back anytime. Monday through Thursday, 7 p.m. Pacific. Okay.
Yeah, you have a heart, my brother, but we've got to work together and ongoing conversation. But I appreciate what you have said, and God bless you.
You as well, sir. Have a great night. Thanks for calling. Okay, there we go. All right, gentlemen, let's wrap this up. Do my best to be more behaved this time. But yeah, go ahead. Just
it's funny. A lot of the religions and a lot of the remote viewing and a lot of paranormal conspiracy. He's right that there, at the end of the day, there is a truth. It's just whether we're talking about Satan, reptilians, greys, entities, paranormal, vampires, I don't know, whatever we're talking about. It's like, I feel like when humans know, they can like discern things. And I think that the ambiguity is sort of the evil part, right? It's kind of like when a lot of people are the mainstream media is attacking Joe Rogan right now. Okay. I know I'm a little, it's a tiny bit political, I guess. But a lot of people, left, right, center, watch Joe Rogan because he, in earnest, he's trying to learn more about the world. And look, he has hot takes and says dumb stuff. Just like he's a dude, bro. Like he's like a gorilla dude. He's like, he like fights MMA and he's like, Joe Rogan, please explain to me why the stars fall every night. That's like a meme. But he's trying to figure stuff out. And when you watch the mainstream news now, they're always it's deceitful. They have an angle, and you can kind of discern that's kind of like evil, right? That's not good. And if there are entities like we were saying, like the devil, entities, archons, different titles, right? They don't want you to know the truth because then you would just know that they don't have your best interest in mind, right? And we can kind of boil it down to that. And I think there's a lot to agree on. We can all agree on from all the different sects and different places you come from in your life. We can all agree that we kind of all want to know the truth, so we can all have our best interests. I don't want to live in a world where we're all screwing over the next guy, and that's how you got to live. I'd rather just we all get along, and you got to know who's the jerk, right? So I will say, Todd, you got, bro, like there's a English thing, like when you say you put people like on I'm saying you, I'm doing it now, so I'm I guess I'm not any better, but if you say I feel like you don't understand me is better than you don't understand, right? So if you want to get your truth out there, bro, if you want to get the truth out there, work on your language a little bit, get a little better at it. But definitely there's some info there. It was interesting. So thanks for calling, man.
For sure. Yeah. We've kept Kelly waiting for far too long, and Jay's been here for this whole damn time. No, not just you. I'm just saying, I just want to make sure. I want to make sure we're kosher here. I didn't do the right thing. I want to do the right thing a second time. And Kelly, quick out, and then let's get to Jay because Jay's been waiting for a very long time.
Yeah, man. I just I don't know, man. Like I said, I've had many conversations with many guys like that. I'm not saying that he's the same or whatever, but the whole truth thing, he's very forceful. I mean, like he was just saying, I was going to kind of bring that up too, is where, he said that he didn't understand where you came off because, well, look how he talked, you know what I mean? He's like, you don't understand nothing, you know what I mean? So we understand a lot here. And, it's just the way he, it's just a little rough on the edges on that when you come to that. I mean, again, believe me, man, if you listen to the show, we've talked about everything. And I could, even try to, what he was explaining, I almost went to the same shit. He was talking about art, right? Or even, something that's been here for a long time that's, dark and stuff that's not like tossed, like some of the things that I was reading, about the serpent head when the veil's lifted. So, I mean, we've been there, man. We've done that, but we'd like to have your point of view, but take a little easy, man. But other than that, welcome to the show, and you guys have a good evening.
You too, brother. Have a great weekend. Tell Michelle we said hi. Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. All right, so we've been keeping Jay in New York waiting for very, very, very long. Thank you, Jay, for being patient with us. Go right ahead, sir. Welcome to Troubled Minds. How are you?
Hi, Mike. Good evening.
Good evening.
The Watchers. Wow. Who's watching who now?
Who's watching the Watchers?
Yikes.
Yikes.
It's hard to say. It's very hard to say. I find it sometimes in conversations, especially with what goes on in the show and our broad range of topics and all that, I find myself that my faith has been, and my particular beliefs, not to preach them to anyone or anything else like that, have become stronger just because I've been more enlightened by having open conversations with other people. I think that's something that was the kind of point that I got out.
Yeah. I just didn't. I saw you there in the chat saying, "May I?" I just didn't want to turn it into again like we did with Dawn. Everybody dumping on Dawn. So it's okay. It's okay. I get it. I just wanted to give him a second chance to I don't know. It's funny when people think it's a novel idea when you talk about the multiverse and iterations of reality. Have you been watching this show? It's not that novel for troubled minds, is it? It's not that.
I don't know if I would come up that strong 40 minutes into listening to your show after 4 years, 3 years, 4 years. No,
that's okay.
You know,
that's what
I mean,
there's
a lot of conversations that have gone on. You know, I mean, he's new. That's great.
Yeah, that's fine.
It would really be interesting to talk to that Todd.
There you go.
Just see what he has to say.
There you go.
Because I believe a lot what he probably does too. You know,
same here. Like I said, the first 4.5 minutes, I agreed with most of what he said. It's just the framing of the language. It's accusatory. You don't understand and the truth, things like that, right? Imagine if I did that constantly,
the foundation.
I'm pretty sure most of you guys wouldn't be here if I was like that. So just saying, just as an example, the way you speak to people is very important. Probably, could you say more important than the message? Interestingly enough.
They are hiring at CNN, I hear.
Oh, yeah, they fired everybody, right? Perfect.
Yeah, well, so you could use that kind of rhetoric and go straight to CNN. Yeah, get yourself a nice job.
Yeah, hell yeah, get paid millions a year. Yeah. So if you got to boil it down to one idea, or maybe even a couple. Again, it's Friday night for me because it's Thursday Troubled Minds. We can go late. It's all good. What do you think? What do you think the Watchers are? Do you think it is I tried to go to the archons and whatnot, but we had a disconnect. But I don't know. What do you think? Do you think that there is some sort of maybe possible link to this Akashic record in some sense, or the cosmic librarian sort of situation, or do you think it is more like what our friend Todd there said, in that it's all very basic, plain and linear? That the book is the book, and that's that.
Well, I mean, just from the conversations that we've had in the past, I mean, the Akasha records and all the things of the like, that's real, because we all know things we don't know. We know. We work on those things. I mean, some people are excellent artists. Some people are excellent musicians. They do it. Why are they that way? It's inherited. It's DNA. It's in us. It's those are the things that you're good at. There's kids that are good at math in school, and there's kids that are great spellers. It's just, there's different things that we all have our own little purpose here. And whether it's to ruffle feathers or make peace or whatever that might be, that's all part of it. And I think that's something that's been going on and on forever. We're in a repeating little circle, going back to the mud floods and the flat earth and all that. We have all these things that just keep coming back to the top all the time, and sometimes it's okay to talk about them and sometimes it's not. I think the thing is with the Watchers, especially with the things that are going on with the movies and the metaverse and the multiverse and the comics and all of that, is that it's coming back to the top now. There's a reason why it's coming back to the top. Are we is this something that we should be talking about and thinking about because it's going to be right in front of our face, like, a couple days ago when the aliens are going to land? They're going to put it down on the White House lawn. We should be prepared for that. It's just... Well, I mean,
crossing your fingers, nobody shoots. Imagine what's that? The shot heard around the world, right? In Concord, is it New Hampshire? I believe is the place where this went down, or is it Virginia? I can't remember the first shot of the Revolutionary War.
I can't remember where it happened either, but
imagine,
it was probably down south.
Yeah, well, no, it was definitely, I don't know, wherever it was. I'm pretty sure the name, Concord is the name of the town. I'm pretty sure. Anyway, whatever. Imagine how the silence, right? The silence just before all hell broke loose, before that first shot. Imagine what that sounds like. I think
we had a blizzard coming, and it was 40 degrees today. 40 degrees all day long. We're all laughing. Haha, they canceled everything because it's raining.
Nice.
And now we've got an inch of ice on everything.
Nice.
But,
now you've done it.
Calm before the storm.
The calm before the storm, exactly. And so my point there, too, was imagine when the aliens do land on the White House lawn, in that moment of silence, everybody waiting for the first shot to be fired. Lexington, Concord, Massachusetts. There you go. Right, Stalker knows. I knew it was Concord. Yep, two different places. The shot heard around the world. Nobody knows who actually fired the first shot, but it definitely, imagine, my point is not the shot itself. Imagine the silence before the shot. Yeah. Anyway, all right. So you're saying that, so Jay, I'm shocked. You're saying maybe?
I'm saying that higher on the maybe side. Higher. Okay. Yes.
All right.
If I was putting the money down on the pool and everything else like that, I'd be betting on the, over, under, a little on the over side. Won by 3 points or something. Touchdown. On that one.
Kick the field goal. By the way, it's the year of the Tiger. Bengals in the Super Bowl. It's got to be.
I'm from Cincinnati. I grew up I'm from Ohio. Lived in Cincinnati for a long time. That would make me happy if the Bengals won. But
I'm telling you, it's the year of the Tiger. I don't think they can lose. I think that's why. Like I was telling Derek a few weeks ago, I can't believe the Bengals are winning playoff games. Number one, number two, if they win in the year of the Tiger, I'm convinced this is a simulation.
As a Bengals fan, they always choke, man.
Exactly.
Always choke.
Exactly. They've always choked. Even back to 1988 or whatever year that was. Man, that was a long ass time ago. But yeah, I don't know. Like that.
We'll see. I remember.
We'll see. Look, I'm not a financial advisor, and this is not financial advice. But the Bengals are winning the Super Bowl.
All right. We got the New York bets now, or what is it? The online sports betting we can do in New York. Uncle Andy gave it to us as a plus before he decided to leave.
Nice.
He'd let us bet online.
Nice.
So
that's fine.
Yeah,
that's fine. So again, don't hit me up with your losses, but let me know when you win.
If I win,
if you win, I want to know about it.
I'll be down on my dinner.
Let's get the hell out of here. Jay, you have a J-Tro for us. Thank you for being patient. Thanks for shoveling snow all day and staying up with us all night. You're the best, brother. I appreciate you very much.
I do have a J-Tro. It's really short, though.
Okay.
It came to me when we were talking late in the show.
Okay, perfect. So let's do this. Let's smash some music, give you guys some music, and let's GTFO. Shout out to every single one of you. You guys know who you are. If I try and name anybody, I'm going to name Robert. Thank you for the tip over on Rockfin. By the way, if I'm not reading your chat on Rockfin, it's because my Rockfin spurred out. I tried to refresh it, and it never came back up properly. So I apologize for that. Thank you so much for being here tonight. Thanks for listening. The most important thing, like I always say, is spending your time and energy with us. Thank you for that. Go right ahead, Jay. What's our J-Tro sound like tonight?
Don't worry, the children will never listen to you. Worry that they're always watching you. Robert Fulghum.
There it is. Who will watch the watchers when the children are watching us? Oh boy. Oh boy.
The children.
Oh boy. Always the children. Back to the children. We started with the children tonight. We ended with the children tonight. And again, once again, it's your intention, right? It's your intention. That's right. Let's get the hell out of here. Again, like I said, apologies to our friend Todd, our new friend Todd. You're welcome back anytime. I will try and compose myself better than I did and be a better man tomorrow. The thing is this, as we finish, you guys know the drill. If you want to help the show, we got a Rockfin, we got a Patreon, there's a Twitch you can sub up to. You can do all those things if you like the show but not enough to spend money or are not in the financial position to do so. Listen to the podcast feed. Spotify, iTunes, ads are baked in. It sends a few cents my way every time you do that. So thank you again. Like I said, I can't name names. I'm going to say, Robert, thank you for the tip tonight on Rockfin. Sorry I didn't read your quote from your book, because that was an amazing quote. We'll get to that another night. And let's get the hell out of here. As we finish, it goes like this. Which one you want, Jay?
Grandma's. Always grandma's.
We'll go to grandma's. The bad news is we're done. The good news is hasta mañana. God willing, we've got tomorrow. So thanks for hanging out with us. Thanks for being here. We'll see you guys the next time. Monday through Thursday, 7 p.m. Pacific, Troubled Minds. We'll be back tomorrow for our Twitch show, a news show at 3 p.m. Pacific. And so, God willing, we have tomorrow. Hasta mañana. She would say this to me. She would say, this is for you, Jay. She would say, mijo, hasta mañana. And then she'd pause and she'd wait and she'd twinkle her fingers at the sky and she would say, God willing. And that means she was going to bed. And that's all. And I'd see you tomorrow. And there you go. That's where that came from. And again, I've sprinkled a lot of different things from my life into this show. And there we go. And this one in particular, I'm not going to tell you where it's from. It's a secret. But as we finish, it goes a little something like this. Be sure, be strong, be true. Thank you for listening. From our troubled minds to yours, have a great night.